All right, good morning and welcome to the Nevada State Board of Pharmacy January 2026 meeting. Today is Wednesday, January 14th, and our meeting will now come to order. My name is Helen Park and I'll be the presiding officer. We'll start with the Board of Pharmacy mission statement. In regulating the practice of pharmacy, the Nevada State Board of Pharmacy has a duty to carry out and enforce the provisions of Nevada law to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public. Next, we're going to go ahead and do our roll call. I'll start with Mr. Adam Porath.
Here.
Ms. Crystal Freitas.
Here.
Mr. Richard Tomaso.
Here.
Ms. Shanice Taylor.
Here.
Ms. Jade Jacobo.
Here.
And Ms. Anna Carr.
Here.
Okay, we have all members present. Mr. Weiss, any announcements?
Good morning, Madam President. Just one, this meeting will be held in conformance with Nevada open meeting law for the public. If somebody appears on Zoom, you'll be able to see them on the TV to your left. We have two previous board members that are in the audience today, so I'd like to take a moment to recognize them, Melissa Shake and Jody Lewis. So thanks for attending the meeting today and your service in the past. And I'll turn it back over to you, Madam President.
Great, thank you, Mr. Weiss. All right, as our next order of business, the board will open up the floor for any public comment. So if we have anyone in the room or online or on Zoom who wishes to make a public comment, please come forward or raise your hand on Zoom or press *6, *9 to have your line unmuted. Do we have anyone at this time who wishes to make a public comment?
No one on Zoom, Madam President.
Okay, and it does not appear that anyone in the room wishes to make a public comment. So the period of public comment will be closed for now, and there'll be another opportunity at the end of the day today. All right, so our next order of business is the approval of the meeting minutes from our December 2025 meeting. Board members, any discussion on the minutes?
No notes from me, Madam President. I move that we approve the December 2025 meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Jacobo, a second by Mr. Porath. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any opposed? Okay, the meeting minutes from December have now been approved. Next, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Board members, any discussion on the consent agenda? Everything looked in order to me.
I agree, Madam President. I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Oh. Wait, you can give her. I have a motion by Ms. Jacobo, a second by Dr. Taylor. Right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the consent agenda is now approved. So with that, we'll go ahead and move to our regular agenda, and we'll start with agenda item 5AA for Walgreens Pharmacy, number 03842. Hi, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm good. If, Mr. Stilling, if you could just state your full name for the record.
William Stilling for Walgreens Pharmacy.
Excellent. And then with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Tucker.
Thank you, Madam President. Laura Tucker for the record. This is case number 24-451-PH-S. It is item 5AA on the agenda. Walgreens Pharmacy number 03842 is on page 2219 of your board books. Again, respondent Walgreens Pharmacy's certificate of registration number is 15426. This is a continuation from the last meeting. We revised the stipulation pursuant to the board's requests for the last meeting. To refresh your memories, this accusation was related to allegations that there was a misfill related to a patient receiving some tablets of an incorrect drug, resulting in the patient seeking medical attention for adverse reactions. And the pharmacist was charged with one count of unprofessional conduct for failing to notice upon inspection that the vial contains some tablets of the incorrect prescription And Walgreens number 03842 was charged with pharmacy responsibility. So if you turn to page 2229 of the board book, this is where we made amendments to our previous stipulation that we are presenting for you today. The new terms are that Walgreens agrees to pay an administrative fine of $1,000. Will require all of its pharmacists who use automatic filling cells to receive training, and will cease using the automatic filling machine that is the Uyama EV1 automated filling cells as of January 31st, 2026. They also pay fees.
And Laura, just at that store, not all.
At that store, and yeah, sorry for, thanks Dave for that clarification. At that store, they will stop using them as the machine as of January 31st, 2026. Pay fees and costs in the amount of $500, which are reasonable, necessary, and actually incurred. And I noticed that we had a couple typos that I want to offer some amendments, request that the board approve some amendments to the stipulation in the board book. On page 2231, which is paragraph 8D. In the board book, it says that the date that the store will stop using the automated filling cells is January 31st, 2025. That should be 2026. But we had a typo because of the change of the year. And then also I want to request if we could amend paragraph 10 to state that this was presented at the regularly scheduled board meeting today, January 14th, 2026, instead of December 3rd, 2025. And with that, we present the stipulation to the board today for approval with an effective date of today, January 14th, 2026.
Okay, and then I wanted to turn it over to Mr. Stilling for any additional remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. Yep, we're in full agreement. Ms. Tucker and I have worked together. We worked together on the first step and we worked together on this one. I think we came up with a solution. Walgreens at that store has been planning on ceasing its use. I think we had this discussion a bit at the last meeting that these cells are, I don't want to say no longer in vogue, but they found them to be not very helpful in terms of relieving pharmacists of time constraint. So this store in particular was scheduled, I think, to go offline January 31st of 2026. I think many of the other stores will phase it out, but that's what's going on. That should so there won't be any more concerns about that machine at that site. Just one note that doesn't mean the machine will disappear. There's a process to get those machines out. I'm not sure when it's going to actually leave the pharmacy. So if that pharmacy suspected and the machine is there, all the cells will be empty. I don't know if they make sure everybody knows. I'm sure the pharmacist will know that that machine is not being used. So just want to clarify that. But and the dates, I caught some in the first go round, and Ms. Tucker caught them again, some other ones. So I think we're good.
Okay, great. So Mr. Stilling, I just have a couple questions on the new stip or with Ms. Tucker. So on paragraph, let's see, you had mentioned there's a paragraph, I can't find it at the moment, where pharmacy staff will be trained on the policies and procedures. Well, that's paragraph 8C. Ensure that all pharmacists in Nevada that use it will require pharmacists to review the SOPs. So that's going to be for every single store, Walgreens locations that currently have that machine in operation.
That's correct.
And then what you're saying is for this particular store, 03842, they will cease using it on January 31st in about 2 weeks, the end of this month. But the machine there may not physically be removed, but it will be clear that no usage of that machine moving forward.
That's right. Essentially decommissioned at that store.
And then just curious, because it's the 2-week time frame, does that mean the current Walgreens employees at 3842 will also receive the training?
we have 60, they have 60 days to do it.
Mhm.
So I guess technically it wouldn't need to, but I suspect
I just
that
wonder.
they've already been retrained, given
Oh,
the appearance last time and given the mistake occurred. I think that's a natural consequence of, when there's a mistake, there's an investigation, root cause, and then, steps are taken. So I expect that certainly the pharmacist there who had a stipulation last time understands it. So,
I just think if they're any floating or if you move to another store, that there might be value in doing that. So that was it.
for those folks that are at the.
If that's applicable to them, yes.
I don't think that should be a problem.
Right. I don't have any further questions or concerns, board members.
Yeah, Adam Porth for the record. I think that these amendments to the stipulation address the discussion that we had at the last meeting, so. I wouldn't have any problem moving forward with them as written, with the exception of the amendments and noted by Ms. Tucker.
Okay, motion by Ms. Porras, second by Ms. Jacobo. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time all.
All right, we're gonna move to our next agenda item, and that is for 5N for David Whitehouse. So if we have David Whitehouse, our representatives here, if you could please come forward.
He's on Zoom. We'll find him here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, give me one moment to pull up your file and transition over. Mr. Whitehouse, will anyone else be joining you today? Mr. Whitehouse, will anyone else be joining you today?
No,
All right, then for the record, if you could please state your full name.
David Whitehouse.
Okay, and if you could join me in raising your right hand, I'm gonna swear you in. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll turn it over to Mr. Zanino.
For the record, Greg Zanino, Senior General Counsel. This is the matter of Nevada State Board of Pharmacy versus David Whitehouse, Registered Pharmacist, Certificate of Registration number 13635. This is case number 23429 RPH BS. The accusation that was filed in this case begins at page 1934 of your board book. As the accusation pertains to Partel Specialty Pharmacy and Robert Seek. The allegations against those respondents were settled by way of a stipulation that was approved by this board some time ago. I think it was roughly 6 months ago. I'll note that the specific allegations relate primarily to Partel and Mr. Seek. Mr. Whitehouse was the managing pharmacist during that time. I think he served for a relatively brief period of time as managing pharmacist, but he was there nonetheless during the time that these violations occurred. So he was charged on that basis, primarily that he was the managing pharmacist and was responsible for what went on in the pharmacy. The parties have reached a stipulation for your consideration and possible approval. The stipulation begins at page 1948 of your board book. The key provisions are as follows, beginning at paragraph 7. Respondent does not contest the allegations stated in the accusations on file herein and admits that evidence exists. That board staff prosecuting this case could present such evidence in an administrative hearing to establish a factual basis for the violations. To resolve this case without incurring any further costs or expenses, respondent accepts the stipulation as a public reprimand, and he understands and acknowledges that his certificate of registration has been forfeited. I'll give you a few more details on that. Dr. Whitehouse is currently in medical school in the Caribbean. He's living in Florida. I don't think he intends to return to the practice of pharmacy. So he did not renew his certificate of registration. So that's been forfeited by operation of statute. Respondent agrees to pay a fine of $5,000. He agrees to pay fees for investigation and prosecution in the amount of $1,000. Both of those sums will be due. And this is a typo, so we'll fix that. In paragraph D, I'll note it says 2025. The payments will actually be due February 28, 2026. In paragraph 9, this constitutes a full and final resolution of the case involving White House. Dr. Whitehouse understands that this matter will be reported to the national practitioner, Dave. That's my summary.
Madam President, just point of clarification, Dave Weiss for the record. I think you addressed it, but I just want to make sure it's clear for the record, Greg. There were more than one person was a managing pharmacist during the violations. He was there for part of it, and he was the shortest period of a managing pharmacist at the facility. It wasn't like it only happened when he was there. And we've addressed the other. You've already addressed the other parts of the action. Thanks, Greg. Is that correct, Rick?
That's right.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Zinni. Dr. Whitehouse, did you want to add any additional remarks or comments?
The only comment I have is the only mistake I made was taking the job at Partel. I had previously owned Partel. My partner stole money from me. They embezzled funds, and I left with an agreement that allowed me to raise my son as I was a single dad in Huntington Beach, California. I hadn't been in Nevada for many years, and I had heard that the other partner ended up stealing a bunch of money from Robert Seek, and he had called me with this opportunity, and I actually couldn't stand Robert, obviously for what he did. But I thought maybe he had learned his lesson after he had gotten funds taken from him. And when I came back, I had a meeting with the board. Quite frankly, it was very embarrassing the way I was treated. It was assumed I knew all these things that were going on at Partel, and I hadn't been there for over a decade, well over a decade, maybe 2 decades. I was laughed at. It was, but I get it once I dove into what was going on, and I was shown the cease and desist letters, and I was like, oh my God. Being I have a master's in regulatory science, I was like, this guy will never get approved. But I tried. After about 3 weeks or so, I was like, I got to get another job. I got to get out of here. This place is nuts. And this whole thing with the wellness group, the wellness company, I never spoke to anybody at the wellness company. I had no contact with anybody at the wellness company. And when Robert made this substitution, I made the mistake of assuming that this was something he had gone over with the wellness company. I was focused on this clean room, which in the end, after a second symposium with PCCA, I basically told Robert if he doesn't spend $250,000 at a minimum, there is no way he has the nuts and bolts to get the clean room up and running. That clean room was my main responsibility. The contractors did not know what they were doing. I hired contractors. I was under a lot of pressure to get this clean room up. I wished I had been able to speak to people when this all went down. Unfortunately, I found out about this whole situation with this case secondhand. Apparently, this attorney, Joey Gallo, negotiated the disciplinary action on my behalf, and I never even heard of the guy. This is a violation of my 14th Amendment right, but it's too much to go into the weeds over that. But I didn't know my counsel, and this counsel was negotiating on my behalf. I didn't even know the guy. So a lot of this is secondhand. Like I said, I was there for a very short period of time before I realized I didn't want to be there anymore. I wasn't comfortable. And it took me about 7-8 weeks to find a position. It's hard at my age to find a position, and I went back to California. So, like I said, I was the manager. probably should have paid more attention to what was going on with the wellness group, but I kind of assumed it was a Robert thing that had been going on for many years. I thought it was unusual, and we did have a board inspection, and I spoke with the inspector, and he said, you know, with the guidebook and everything, that it seemed fine. And I was like, this is weird. I've never seen this, and now it's syndicated. It's on TV and radio like every 10 minutes with this wellness group and Dr. Phil and all that. But
So, Dr. Whitehouse, I'll
Yeah.
just, pardon the interruption there, but, it sounds like you went through a difficult experience. And then as far as your thoughts on the stipulation, I just want to bring it back to the stipulation in front of us. So some of the things you talked about are outside of, I think the, stipulation that we have in front of us and other matters that you may want to settle on your own. But as far as the stipulation that.
I just want to move on from this. I'm retired from pharmacy, so I just wanted to say my piece.
Yes.
It wasn't exactly handled the best of situations, right? I mean, who wants to find out about a disciplinary action from a third party? And there was issues with maintaining my mailing address. It is what it is. I'm sure probably on both sides they felt it could have been handled better, but again, I was the manager, so but as many know, managers sometimes don't have the ability to be able to notice everything that's going wrong in the pharmacy, given certain circumstances and situations. So it is what it is. It's a position that puts you at a lot of liability. But I just want to let the board know I did not do anything wrong intentionally, and I was not aware of Robert Seek going rogue and going out on his own to do these substitutions without, I had no knowledge of that, but it is what it is.
All right. So as far as the stipulation that you worked out with Mr. Zunino, do you have any objections to what he has put together or what you guys have agreed to?
No, it's fine.
Okay. So with that, board members, any additional questions?
No questions. I would move that we approve the stipulation as written by board staff with the amendment of the date to February 2026 as noted by Mr. Zunino.
Crystal Freitas, I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Porath, a second by Ms. Freitas. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. All right, we thank you for your time and we wish you all the best. Okay, we'll move on to our next agenda item. I have 5A and 5B. That's for CVS Pharmacy number 8824 and Carlo Arcia.
Madam President, recuse from this matter, previous employment at CVS.
Okay, we'll note that Shagobo is recusing herself from this matter, and then I do want to disclose that I am familiar with Mr. Carlo Arcio from our time at Roseman University, but I feel that I could participate fairly and unbiased in this matter. All right, so with that, we'll start with some introductions. Mr. Arcio, if you could state your full name for the record.
Carlo Nico Angela Arcio.
Okay, thank you, and then Mr. Convery.
Good morning all. Brian Convery, I'm senior legal counsel for CVS. I am here as a representative of CVS 8824.
Okay, and then I'll be swearing you both in. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Great, thank you so much. All right, Mr. Cant.
Good morning, Brad Kent for the record, prosecuting this matter on behalf of the state. Case numbers 22-509 PHS and 22-509 RPHS. Charges begin on page 1684 of the board book. Respondents so named CVS Pharmacy 8824, pharmacy license PH 00947, and Carlo Nico Arceo, registered pharmacist, registration number 19679. We do have a stipulation to present for your consideration and possible approval today. The stipulation appears beginning on page 1693 of the board book. And so by way of brief background, this is a misfill matter in which it's alleged that Respondent Arceo failed to provide medication counseling for two prescriptions which had not been previously dispensed from CVS Pharmacy 8824. And one of those erroneously dispensed prescriptions was a tirzepatide, a drug that can induce a medical abortion, was dispensed to a pregnant patient. And that CVS Pharmacy 8824 is the pharmacy owner is responsible for the errors and omissions that respond in our sale. So what we are proposing by way of stipulated penalties are that the certificate of registration respond in our sale, registration number 19697 will be suspended for 1 year. The suspension will be stayed and the respondent placed on probation, paying a $2,000 fine, $500 reimbursement to the board's recoverable attorney's fees and investigative costs, and compliance with all laws and no additional charges. Upon successful completion of that 1 year probation, respondent's registration will be fully restored. And then respondent CVS Pharmacy 8824 will pay $10,000 fine and $1,000 to partially reimburse the board for recoverable attorney's fees and costs. Those payments will be due and payable by February 1st of this year. This is the stipulation we're presenting for your consideration this morning. Thank you.
Mr. Convery, did you want to make any additional comments?
Thank you, Ms. Parker. I appreciate it. I just want to thank Mr. Camp for his many courtesies and cooperation on bringing this matter towards resolution to get us here today. We are in agreement with the stipulation as Mr. Camp stated to the board. We have put an IT fix into our system so that this does not occur again. The situation that led to this does not occur again. And I would ask that the board approve the settlement as Mr. Camp described it.
I'm curious about that IT fix. What does that entail? Or how will it prevent it?
In this situation, the counseling alert did not fire for the pharmacist. Patient had been prescribed these drugs previously at a different CVS. And that was the black hole in the system. Because obviously I understand what the regulations say, that it has to be prescribed at the same pharmacy. We had an IT error there. We have put a fix into place that it will fire.
Okay, so with any new prescription. And then I think it's me, I must have misheard it, but Mr. Cant, did you mention weight loss or tirzepatide or anything like that? Or it's Keflex and Zofran were the drugs involved? I just want to make sure I heard it correctly or it's on the record correctly.
The drugs involved, Brett Camp for the record. So the drugs involved, both prescription which have been transferred to the pharmacy are identified in paragraph 3 of the accusation on page 1684, if that's helpful.
Okay. So Mr. Arcio, can you tell us about the circumstances that led to this? Like, how did it get so mixed up from Zofran to misoprostol or Keflex to, like, how did this happen?
From my understanding, the patient requested those 2 prescriptions to our pharmacy. And from my understanding, there was no ondansetron prescription at the Walgreens. And I don't know if that pharmacist, when I spoke to them, they just accidentally did like a profile transfer, which were those 2 prescriptions that came to our pharmacy.
So those transfers happen electronically without speaking with the pharmacist?
No, I did. I mean, I don't recall like the situation, but my understanding is I requested those 2 prescriptions from Walgreens, and the Walgreens, they transferred the wrong prescription by doing a profile transfers, which were just those 2 prescriptions that were active. Fine.
So the other Walgreens transferred over the incorrect prescriptions?
Correct.
I see.
To us. So I think they requested for Zofran and Keflex. And then, so when I requested those transferred, there was no active prescription for ondansetron, but there was, I guess, a misoprostol at Walgreens, and those were the only 2 active prescriptions at that location. So my assumption is they probably did a profile transfer to our pharmacy.
I see. And then it wasn't caught because there's nothing that flagged it for you to counsel.
Correct.
There was no, the technician didn't ask or the person, the register didn't check. Okay. All right, board members, any additional questions?
Madam Board, for the record, Dr. Arceo, given, the additional risk with, Mr. Prost holds one of the drugs that raises a red flag for me anytime I deal with it, how have you changed your practice with that particular drug?
Like now, every time I verify that prescription, regardless if it's a first fill or not, I put a force counsel for the pharmacist that's working to make sure that's the correct medication now.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Okay, board members, any additional questions?
Crystal Freitas, I don't have any additional questions. So I'd move to approve the stipulation order for CVS Pharmacy 8824 and Carlo Arcelo PH.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Freitas, a second by Mr. Forath. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you all.
Okay, next, we'll call for agenda item 5C for Rodolin Arceo. Do we have Rodolin Arceo or representatives here?
President Park. I can't for the record. The counsel for the respondent, I believe, was going to be appearing by remotely, Michael Lynn.
Okay,
We're looking for nobody, Michael Lynn, if you, oh, we got you, Michael. Here you go.
Thank you. Sorry.
hey, hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, if you could take your full name for the record.
This is Michael Lin for Dr. Arceo.
Okay. And will anyone else be joining you today, or will
No.
Dr. Arceo? No,
No, unfortunately.
then I will turn it over to Mr. Camp.
Once again, Brett Camp for the record, prosecuting this matter on behalf of the state is case number 23353 CSS. Named respondent Rodolin Arceo, APR and certificate of registration number CS 30228. Charges begin on page 1714 of the board book. The respondent did file an answer notice of defense, which appears beginning on page 1725 of the board book. We do have a stipulation resolving the matter that we're presenting this morning for your consideration and possible approval. That begins on page 1731 of the board book. And by way of brief background, the respondent served as medical director of Natural Beauty, a spa during the relevant timeframes, which was owned by some individuals that were not Nevada licensed practitioners. And the board investigation revealed that the respondent permitted the non-licensed practitioners and some registered nurses to have independent access to the medication storage containing dangerous drugs and to access those medications outside the respondent's presence without the respondent's supervision and furnish and administer drugs to patients, including on-site medical treatment, including the administration of dangerous drugs by injection. So what we propose by way of stipulated settlement, consistent with similar violations, is that the respondent's certificate of registration is suspended for a period of 1 year. Suspension is stayed. The respondent is placed on probation, accepting the stipulations of public reprimand, paying a $5,000 fine and $1,000 partial reimbursement to the board for reasonable attorney's fees and costs, both due and payable by July 3rd of this year, complying with all applicable laws. They having no charges filed during the probationary period, upon the completion of which respondent's registration will be fully restored. So this is the stipulation we're presenting for your consideration this morning. Thank you.
And Mr. Lynn, did you want to add any additional comments?
Yes. This particular job site was actually a temporary location where Dr. Sale was just there for about a period of 3 months. And of course, we're not disputing any of the allegation that the board has made. But prior to the departure, we actually have rectified all the issues. And of course, my client's no longer at the location anymore. Thank you. I submit.
Okay, so your client is no longer part of this business. Is she working in a similar type of business environment or?
No, unfortunately, because of course, not familiar too much with the medical spa. This is where she was caught in this bad situation, and she learned her lesson. So afterwards, she's just doing her regular practice without any of the medical spa, and that's why, any of the dangerous drug things of those sort, she doesn't have any dealings with that right now at this moment.
All right, thank you. All right, board members, any questions?
Crystal Freitas, I don't have any other additional questions. I think it is consistent with prior cases. So I move to approve the stipulation order as presented for Roddle and Arcero.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Freitas, a second by Mr. Kobo. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. All right, we
Thank
thank
you.
you for your time today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Okay, next we'll move to agenda item 5H. That is for Dr. Gregory Allen Oliver. So if we have Dr. Oliver or representatives here or online, if you could please let us know.
Yes, I'm here. This is Dr. Oliver.
Okay, hi, Dr. Oliver. Will anyone else be joining you today?
They will not.
Okay, so for the record, if I could have you state your full name.
Gregory Allen Oliver.
Okay, Dr. Oliver, I'm going to swear you in. If you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
I do.
Okay, thank you. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Camp.
Brett Camp, for the record, prosecuting this matter on behalf of the state, case number 24224 CSS, and respondent Gregory Allen Oliver, DO, by the way, that was incorrectly noted as MD and the original charges, so I'm noting for the record, and the stipulation I'm presenting correctly notes him as a DO. Certificate of registration number CS 35044. The charges begin on page 1820 of the board book. The respondent self-representing, him representing himself, entered an answer and notice of defense beginning on page 1832 of the board book. And as I previously noted, we are presenting a stipulation for your consideration this morning that begins on page 1834 of the board book. By way of brief background, the charges involve the respondent dispensing controlled substance prescription to patients from his practice at Infinite Wellness Las Vegas without a dispensing practitioner registration. And he also failed to review PMP patient utilization reports for the patients for whom he had prescribed them or dispensed controlled substances at that practice. So what we are proposing by way of a stipulated settlement consistent with similar violations is that respondent certificate of registration CS 35044 suspended for 1 year. The suspension is stayed. Respondent is placed on probation. Will accept the stipulation as a public reprimand. Shall pay a $5,000 fine and $1,000 to reimburse the board for reasonable costs. Both due and payable by July 3rd of this year. Compliance with all applicable laws and no additional charges while on probation, upon successful completion of which his certificate of registration will be restored. So this is the stipulation we're presenting for your consideration this morning. Thank you.
Great. Dr. Oliver, did you want to add any additional comments?
No, I agree and accept the stipulation and order. I accept responsibility and made mistakes with outperforming adequate due diligence upon working in this practice here in Nevada.
Great, thank you. Board members, any additional questions?
Adam Forth for the record. Dr. Oliver, I guess to that point, are you today familiar with the requirements of the Nevada PMP?
Yeah, absolutely. The first I was made aware of this was an inspector from the the Board of Pharmacy came to our office, and because I'd been of the prescriptions that I actually had dispensed, I reported them to the PDMP or the Nevada PMP Aware. So I was not trying to get around or circumvent any rules or laws. I just was unaware of that and didn't do my due diligence. And when the inspector arrived, we immediately ceased dispensing any medications, did pill counts, reconciled all that. And we have not dispensed any other medications and have decided not to offer that as a part of the practice. I have also now reviewed all the PMP Aware reporting data for Nevada and comply with that. The only scheduled medication that we actually utilize now or that I prescribe out of that office is testosterone, and those patients are screened through the PMP Aware upon their first prescription and then routinely for any refills and monitoring. Yes, I am full compliance with Nevada laws, regulations at this time.
Okay. And then, so just in addition to screening patients prior to writing controlled substance prescriptions, are you aware that you should be checking your own profile to make sure that no one else is writing prescriptions under your name? Every
Yes,
6
I do
months?
that routinely also.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions. I think, given that, I would move to approve the stipulation order as written.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Porath, a second by Mr. Kobo. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. All right, we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, we'll move to agenda item 5J, 5K. That's for Costco Pharmacy number 673 and Chi Vu. Hey, hi, good morning.
Good morning.
If I could have you both state your full name and titles for the record.
Chi Tuk-Bu, pharmacist.
Andrew Joseph Liu, I'm the regional pharmacy supervisor for Costco.
Okay, very good. I'm going to swear you both in. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Great, thank you. All right, and I will turn that over to Mr. Cant.
I can, for the record, prosecuting this matter on behalf of the state, case numbers 24-462 PHS, 24-462 RPHS, named respondents, Costco Pharmacy 673, pharmacy license PH 00825, and Chi Vu, registered pharmacist, registration number 18811. I do want to note, for the record, the respondents are appearing today without counsel, but they were represented by counsel with a negotiated stipulation of 1% fee this morning. Counsel Louis Lance, but he indicated he would not be appearing today. Charges in this case begin on page 1850 of the board book, and we do have a stipulation present for your consideration this morning, which begins on page 1859. And the charges stem once again from misfilled prescription. In this instance, a transferred prescription was erroneously transcribed by respondent Vu and into the wrong dosage and entered into the Costco computer system for the wrong dosage before filling and dispensing. And then the patient experienced a negative medical outcome as a result of that. And Costco Pharmacy 673 is responsible for respondent Vu's errors and omissions. So what we are proposing by way of stipulated settlement, consistent with other cases, is respondent Vu shall pay a $1,000 fine and $500 partially reimburse the board for recoverable attorney's fees and costs. And the respondent Costco Pharmacy 673 shall pay a fine of $2,000 and $1,000 to reimburse the board for recoverable attorney's fees and costs. Those fines and fees would be due and payable by April 1st of this year. So that's the stipulation we're presenting for your considerations.
All right, and for Costco and Ms. Wu, did you have any additional comments that you wanted to make at this time? Stipulation. So, I'm Helen Park. I just have a couple questions as to how this came about. So in reading the materials that we have, it looks like the pharmacy that called to transfer the prescription, they called, and it sounds like they spoke to you, Ms. Wu?
No, actually, we are the one who called for the transfer. So, the transfer request was put in by the patient herself, and she called and asked for the Wegovy 2.4 milligram. And that's what it was put into our system, and I'm the pharmacist who got the call. I initiate the transfer with the other pharmacy. When I call them, I specifically ask, letting them know that I'm calling to get Wegovy 2.4 milligram. And we complete the transfer. The strength was repeated multiple times, 2.4 milligram. And I guess when I write it down, I was write it down as Wegovy 2.4 milligram per 0.5 ml. When this pen only come in as 0.75 ml. So looking back, I think my mistake was that I did not clarify, even those when we do this kind of transfer for this type of GLP injections, we don't really use the ml. We mainly just using the dose. And since I repeated the dose back to the other pharmacist multiple times, and there was no correction made, and I guess I was just too confident that that was the correct dose.
Okay, so the patient said the wrong dose. When you transferred it, the other pharmacy also said the wrong dose.
I would say that there was no correction made when I repeated the 2.4 milligram multiple times back to him. At no point I was stop and say, oh, that's not the correct dose.
And then looking back, and I think you commented on this, moving forward in the future.
So after this incident, we have a lot of changes in our practice. So we would ask for fax transfer, only limited verbal transfer to situation when fax is not available. We definitely put a lot of, we have to go to patient medical record. If the patient had not been properly titrated up to this dose, we would contact the doctor directly and get a verbal confirmation that the doctor want to move forward with higher dose and initiation dose.
And then that goes for all the GLPs. And then does that apply to your location or all locations for Costco?
Speak for that. So for Costco, like after this incident, we had a meeting, for the whole nation or the regional. So we're in the process of, we recommend our location to always go with fax transfer. But in many states, like verbal transfer is still legitimate, but we recommend to do fax transfer. We also are recommending a new process for all location to incorporate NDC as we get a transfer from the other pharmacy. Currently we do have practice that we are asking our pharmacists to read back the transfer. Like in this case, she did, but sometimes, maybe the other pharmacist wasn't. People are, pharmacists, we understand the other pharmacy is busy. And sometimes the other pharmacists maybe didn't really hear her right. And they just say, yeah, that sounds about right. Instead of really, hearing her out with the dosage. But at the moment though, it's not a requirement for the entire Costco. We recommend to try to get fax whenever available. But at her location at 673, it is, they are trying to enforce this. But if the other pharmacy can't fax, we'll still take a verbal transfer. We'll just do the due diligence to verify with the pharmacy and verify with the patient.
Thank you. All right, board members, any additional questions?
No, Crystal Freitas, I don't have any additional questions. It's pretty straightforward, so I'd move to approve STIP as presented for Costco Pharmacy 673 and Chi Vu RPH.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we have a motion by Ms. Freitas and a second by Ms. Taylor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Madam President, mind taking a quick break?
I'll take a quick break.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Sorry,
gonna go
just, like,
ahead
put my bag on
and
your
continue with our regular agenda. Next, we're gonna go to agenda item 5L, and that is for Danny Young. So if Dr. Young or representatives are here, if you could please come forward.
We're looking for them, Madam President. If you can have them raise their hand or hit *9 on their phone.
Greg Camp on the record. So the respondents are represented by Council Crane Pomerantz. I believe Mr. Pomerantz is going to appear remotely.
Okay, I do see a raised hand for Mr. Zimmerman as well.
You got it?
Yes, I'm here on behalf of Crane Pomerantz, for Mr. Young.
Great, and then if I could just have you state your full name for the record.
Yes, it's Forrest Zimmerman.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. With that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Cant.
Greg Camp, for the record, prosecuting this matter on behalf of the state, case number 24498 CSS. Respondent is Danny Young, MD, certificate of registration number CS 06454. The charges begin on page 1890 of the board book. The respondent to counsel filed an answer and notice of defense that begins on page 1902. And we do have a stipulation to present for your consideration for possible approval this morning. That begins on page 1906 of the board book. And by way of brief background, the respondent was medical director of Inspire Medical Aesthetics in Henderson. And the owner of that Inspire Medical Aesthetics was a Janine Young, a registered nurse. And the board investigation determined that the respondent permitted RN Young to have independent access to medications and the inventory of dangerous drugs, assess them outside the respondent's presence without the respondent's supervision, and to furnish and administer dangerous drugs to patients and provide on-site medical treatment at Inspire Medical Aesthetics, including the administration of drugs by injection to patients without direct practitioner supervision. And so consistent with similar violations, we are proposing by way of a stipulated settlement that the respondent's certificate of registration CS 06454 he will be placed on probation for a period of 1 year, and that accepting the stipulation as a public reprimand, a $5,000 fine, $1,000 to partially reimburse for recoverable attorney's fees and costs, due and payable by February 27th of this year, and compliance with all applicable laws. No additional charges while on probation, upon successful completion of which his certificate of registration will be fully restored. This is the stipulation we're presenting for your consideration this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Cant. Mr. Zimmerman, did you want to add any additional comments?
No, thank you. Just that Mr. Young expresses his contrition for this and also urges the board to follow our stipulation.
Great, thank you. Board members, any questions on this stipulation?
Yes, Counselor, is there a relationship between the doctor and the nurse? I mean, they're both named Young. Is there husband and wife, father, daughter, something like that?
I'm not sure. I am just recently on this case, so I'm helping Crane out, but I can follow up with him on that.
Do we know, Counselor?
Rick, up on the record, I do not know if there's a relationship between the two individuals.
I don't have any issues with the stipulation. I think this is, as we've already seen today, very consistent with how we've handled these cases in the past. So I move that we approve.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Porath, the second by Ms. Jacobo. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. All right, we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, next I'm going to go to agenda item 5U for Robert Milne. So Dr. Milne representatives, if you could please raise your hand, let us know through Zoom. Oh, I see some folks. Give us just a minute. Great. Who do we have here for Dr. Milne?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris R. McCullough. I'm an attorney in Las Vegas. I represent Dr. Milne in this case. Dr. Milne was here for a good hour. His office staff contacted me by message and said he's had an in-office emergency. He's a solo practitioner. He's trying to handle that and then get back. And I've messaged Ms. Tucker that 6 weeks ago, I broke my hip and I have a physical therapy appointment at 11. So we're running with time constraints, but I think I can handle everything myself.
All right, we'll go ahead and proceed. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Tucker.
Thank you, Madam President. Laura Tucker for the record. This is item number 5U, Dr. Robert Milne, and this is located in page number 2115 of your board books. This is case number 23-418-CS-S. And Dr. Milne's certificate of registration number is CS03445. Again, you can find the accusation on page 2115 of your board books. And in it, we allege that Dr. Milne was dispensing without a license, held expired drugs for sale, failed to keep accurate records or produce them upon request of the board, and stored drugs without proper labeling. We do have a stipulation to present to you. It is located on page 2128 of the board book. And the terms are that Dr. Milne agrees to pay an administrative fine of $5,000. Pay fees and costs for $500, which are reasonable and necessary and actually incurred. And we present this stipulation to the board today for approval with an effective date of today, January 14th, 2026. Thank you.
Great. And then, Mr. McCullough, did you have any additional comments that you wanted to add?
None other than we are in full agreement with the stipulation and are prepared to pay the fine and investigative fee per the agreement.
Okay, great. I just have a follow-up question as to how practices run now. So with these, after this, has Dr. Milne made changes to his practice to avoid these instances in the future?
Yeah, he has, in fact, and I mean, I don't want to try to create excuses, but he is a solo practitioner. He only has 2 staff members, and he's in his mid-70s, sort of semi-retired. And so what he used to do as far as, for example, a log of prescriptions, he would put it in every patient file. So he always had a record of it, but he never maintained a separate log. That's now being maintained. He had staff members storing their prescriptions in the refrigerator in his pharmacy. He no longer allows that. We've also, the first charge related to the dispensing of a dangerous drug, which he didn't think was actually on the dangerous drug list, and was covered by his other certificate, but now we know it is. So we've corrected that as well.
Okay. All right, very good.
Mr. McCullough, Adam Porth for the record. Do you know if there's been changes as far as the access to the quote unquote pharmacy in the office?
There's no patient access. It's just him and his staff. And I know there's a door. in addition to being his attorney, he's my doctor. So when I go there, I know there's a door on the pharmacy that's generally closed. I'm assuming it's locked. It used to be open. You could just pass by it and the door was open, but now it's closed. I did not ask Dr. Milne that question, but I will follow up with him after this to make sure that it's locked and only he and his nurse have access.
It seems like there's a variety of allegations related to medications that were prescribed for one particular patient and then dispensed to multiple other patients. Does Dr. Milne understand that that is not how he should be acquiring medications for office administration?
He does now, and he has corrected his procedures.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think this is office administration, it's like dispensing.
Yeah.
And then and this is, sorry, a question for board staff. Has the doctor gotten a dispensing license since, and has he been inspected?
No, Dave Weiss, for the record, to the best of my knowledge, and he would be here, he is not. Laura's saying no too, but my understanding he's no longer dispensing. But one of the things we can do, and we're not like I'd rather, it's fine that we're telling them. We don't have to put it in the STIP, but I can send somebody out to the office as an educational after this, not to try to, hopefully we can move on today if you guys agree to the STIP. I could send somebody out to make sure that these concerns are addressed. We wouldn't typically do that. I don't think it needs to go in the STIP. You can put it in the STIP if you want to do it, but we'll send somebody out and make sure the door's locked, make sure that as a educational, and make sure that he's not dispensing as an educational. Because he's already, this is in front of you today, the actions, so.
I think that'd be great. Okay, any additional questions, board members? If not, I'd be comfortable moving forward with the stipulation as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, this is Helen Park. I make a motion to approve the STIP. Stipulation as presented. I like the encouragement. And then it's seconded by Mr. Tomaso. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Laura will go and make arrangements for that.
Great, and then we'll move to our next agenda item, 5M. That is for Aaron Webb. So if we have Aaron Webb or representatives for Aaron Webb, if you could please come forward now.
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, could you state your full name for the record?
Aaron Joseph Webb.
Okay, anyone else? Will there be anyone else joining you today?
Yes, I have Mark Armstrong.
We see you, Mark, there.
Mr. Armstrong, can we have your line unmuted so you could speak? Can you speak?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, now we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, great. And
Hello.
then if you could just state your full name for the record.
Sure. I'm Mark Armstrong, and I'm counsel for Aaron Webb.
Okay, great. And then Mr. Webb, I'm going to swear you in. If you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide is both truthful and complete?
I do.
Okay, great, excellent. All right, and I will turn it over to Mr. Cant.
Brett Camp, for the record, prosecuting this matter on behalf of the state case number 24505 RPHO, respondent Aaron Joseph Webb, registered pharmacist, registration number 22724. The charges begin on page 1912 of the board book. Mr. Webb, through counsel, filed an answer notice of defense, which begins on page 1923 of the board book. We do have a stipulation to present for your consideration today, which begins on page 1928 of the board book. And so by way of brief background, Mr. Webb entered into a consent agreement with the Arizona State Board of Pharmacy in October of 2024, imposing discipline on the respondent's Arizona license to practice pharmacy for cause involved performing duties under the influence, diverting Xanax for personal use. And so this is a reciprocal action in which we are, well, one, I also want to note that while the respondent reported the interim consent agreement, he failed to report the, in Arizona, he failed to report the subsequent corresponding action by the Ohio Board of Pharmacy imposing discipline on his Ohio license to practice pharmacy. So we also have a reporting violation. But in order to resolve the matter, we propose that the respondent be placed on probation until October 29th, 2029, which corresponds to the probationary period with the Arizona Board of Pharmacy, and subject to the condition that he fully complied with this consent agreement with the Arizona Board of Pharmacy, pay a fine of $1,000, and then accept upon successful completion of probation that his Nevada registration number 22724 will be fully restored. Also note that the payment of the fine would be due by February 27th of this year. So this is the stipulation we're presenting for your consideration this morning.
All right, and then I'll turn it over to Mr. Armstrong for any additional comments, if you wish to add any.
I have no additional comments. Thank you.
Okay, and then Mr. Webb, did you want to add anything?
No, nothing at this time.
Okay, and then for the Arizona Board of Pharmacy, what is the requirement? Could you?
Yes, it's 5 years of probation with including a monitoring program. There's quite a few stipulations required within that, but
Okay.
yes.
How often do you go to the monitoring program?
We have weekly professional like peer meetings, and then we have 24 to 48 screenings, random screenings per year.
Then how's that going for you so far?
So far, it's going great for me. It's been a year and a half or so, but it's been a good journey.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, I don't have any further questions, board members.
I agree with the stipulated agreement and that we approve stipulated agreement for Aaron Joseph Webb.
I just have a question.
Oh, sorry.
For the record. So is our board getting those reports from Arizona?
No, at this time, no, there'd be no requirement, but that's something that would be secondary to the STIP. So Brett can address that. Is that in the STIP that the reports have to come to us?
The record STIP simply requires compliance with the Arizona consent agreement. And the probation mirrors the probationary period imposed by the Arizona agreement.
So if for
And the
some
fine,
reason,
Should he violate the probationary terms of the Arizona?
Yeah.
statute?
Yes, to clarify, the stipulation requires compliance with the consent agreement in Arizona. So if at any point in time there was evidence of non-compliance, we could issue an order to show cause in this case. Okay.
Thank you for clarifying. I second.
okay, so we have a motion by Ms. Jacobo, a second by Mr. Porath. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go to agenda item 5R, and that's for Saman Sazagar or Sam Sazagar.
Hello, can you hear me?
I could hear you. How are you, Sam?
I'm well, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Will there be anyone else joining you today?
No,
I do want to disclose for the record that I am familiar with Sam Sazagar from his time at Roseman University, but I feel that I could participate fairly and unbiased. Okay, with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Zunino.
Thank you, President Park. For the record, Greg Zanino, Senior General Counsel. This is the matter of Nevada State Board of Pharmacy versus Saman Sazagar. RPH Certificate of Registration number 20754. This is case number 25420 RPHS. The accusation in this case begins at page 2065 of your board book. The parties have reached a stipulation for your consideration and possible approval. That stipulation appears at page 2074 of your board book. The terms, the key terms of the stipulation are as follows, beginning at paragraph 7. Respondent does not contest the allegations in the accusation and further admits that evidence exists and that board staff prosecuting this case could present such evidence in an administrative hearing to establish a factual basis for the violations alleged in count 1. And there was only one count in the accusation. On or about February 19, 2023, respondent was arrested in California for driving under the influence of drugs and or alcohol. A blood test revealed a BAC of 0.05. And it also revealed that he had consumed diazepam, a Schedule 4 controlled substance respondent admitted that he'd consumed that. He also stated that he had obtained the medication pursuant to a prescription issued by a licensed physician in Thailand, but did not have a valid U.S. prescription or proper authorization to import the controlled substance. The California State Board of Pharmacy subsequently disciplined respondent. The discipline consisted of a public reprimand and extensive continuing education and an order to pay costs and fees in the amount of $12,138. The respondent has satisfied all those conditions in California. I'll note that this took place wholly within the state of California. There was no kind of nexus to the state of Nevada. To resolve this, the respondent accepts this as a public reprimand. He has agreed to pay the board's cost of investigation in the amount of $500. There's no provision here for a fine because he paid a rather large fine in the state of California. The stipulation constitutes a final resolution of the case. The respondent understands that it will be reported to the National Practitioner Data Bank in accordance with federal law. And this is the stipulation that's presented for your consideration.
Okay, Mr. Zanino, you had mentioned that he obtained the medication diazepam through a prescription in Thailand, but I think that doesn't match up to the documents. So it sounds like he did not have a prescription, but he obtained it while in a trip for Thailand. Is that correct?
I believe, Dr. Sazagar, you had a prescription that was issued in Thailand, correct?
Before you answer that question, Sam, I forgot to swear you in. So if you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, and then if you could answer that question. How did you
Yes, I
obtain
got
the
the
diazepam?
prescription in Thailand.
I'm sorry, you got it.
I got it
through a
from like a
prescription?
neurology center. Yes, I got it. It said the details of who gave it to me, the doctor's name, all that is in the file.
Okay. Okay, so in the stipulation, though, it says he did not have a prescription, so there's a little bit of a mismatch there.
I think the accusation said that. The accusation is incorrect in that regard. If the accusation said that, so he had a prescription that was issued in Thailand. And we clarified that when I spoke with Dr. Sazagar.
Okay.
And Dave, for the record, I'm glad that you're pointing out that we need the record to be correct, but it's nuanced because it's not a valid US prescription and that we would not recognize the Thailand prescription. So you could say he didn't have a US prescription or he didn't have our, prescription here.
Okay.
But I think that you will weigh the fact that he actually has some evidence that he had a prescription in Thailand might be a mitigating circumstance for this case, so.
All right, just wanted to clarify the facts. All right, so with that, Sam, did you want to add any additional comments in regards to the stipulation?
No, I'm in complete agreement with the stipulations. I apologize for my actions. and I'm regretful of the whole entire situation.
Okay, are you doing okay now? Have you sought any help?
I did they originally I did it in advance. I went to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, but I don't know if it helped or it didn't help. I did do that. Um, I went to the courses they told me by by California State Board of Pharmacy. I did the Pharmacy Board Ethics course that recently I just got the certificate that I completed everything. Um, I'm doing fine as far as everything else.
Okay. And then are you still working in Nevada?
No, my last job was at CSI
Oh, okay. So
in
you're
California.
in California. Gotcha. Okay.
I was in California last year.
Thank you. All right, any additional questions, board members?
No, Madam President, I move that we accept the proposed stipulation for Mr. Sam Steinsigar. But consistent with all of the amendments we've been making, I noticed that the decision in order is dated for January 2025, so we just have to change that to 6.
Okay, we have a motion by Jay Jacobo, second by Shanice Taylor. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. All right, we wish you all the best, Anne.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go to agenda item 5S and 5T. That's for Sunrise Pharmacy and Tamara Angeles. So we have Sunrise Pharmacy or representatives, or Tamara Angeles or representative. If you could please let us know through Zoom, or please come forward.
It's Attorney Joey Gilbert. I'm trying to join via Zoom. It's not letting me.
We can hear you, Mr. Gilbert, at least.
Let's see. There we go.
There, now we could see you. All right. Will there be anyone else joining you today?
No, there will not.
Okay. I do want to disclose that I do believe I know Tamara Angeles from her time at Roseman University, but I feel that I can participate fairly and unbiased in this matter. Okay, with that, I will turn it over to Ms. Tucker.
Thank you, Madam President. Laura Tucker for the record. This is for items number 5S and 5T. That's Sunrise Pharmacy and Tamara Angeles. This matter starts on page 27-9 of the board book with the accusation. This is case number 20-097-PH-S and -RPH-S. Respondent Sunrise Pharmacy's license number was PH038880. And Tamara Angelis's license number was 19070. The allegations from this primarily center around unlicensed wholesaling and soliciting to states other than Nevada. The pharmacy and the managing pharmacist were charged with unlicensed wholesaling, and the managing pharmacist was additionally charged with knowingly violating a state law as part of her duties. Both respondents filed an answer, which can be found on page 2090 of the board book. We do have 2 stipulations to present to you today. They are not in your board book, but you've been provided with copies, and there are copies available for the public out front. I will go over the terms for the pharmacy, Sunrise Pharmacy first. On the printouts, it's on page 2 of the proposed stipulation. With the stipulation, Sunrise Pharmacy accepts the stipulation as a public reprimand, and it further acknowledges and understands that the license that it previously held has been forfeited because the pharmacy failed to renew it when it came due for renewal on November 1st, 2020. The pharmacy shall pay an administrative fine of $5,000. Fees and costs of $1,000 for attorneys' fees and costs related to investigating this case. I'll now move on to the stipulation for the managing pharmacist, Tamara Angeles. The terms for hers can be found on page 2. Ms. Angeles agreed to a stayed revocation with a probationary period of 1 year, subject to the following conditions. She will pay an administrative fine of $2,000 and fees and costs in the amount of $1,000. Additionally, she shall complete 2 additional continuing education hours on the duties of a managing pharmacist. And that is in addition to any other continuing education credits that she needs to maintain for licensure. And she needs to demonstrate completion of that additional 2 hours of CEs by July 1st, 2026. That's what we've got for the terms, and we present the stipulation to the board today for approval with an effective date of today, January 14th, 2026.
Thank you, Ms. Tucker. I'll turn it over to Mr. Gilbert if you have anything additional you'd like to add.
I actually do not. I believe that this has been a collaborative effort. We've been working to have this resolved. This conduct stems back to 2020 when the problems arised and then things weren't renewed. So again, I think it's been mindfully resolved. We just ask that the board consider the stipulation and approve it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Board members, any questions on either SIP?
I believe both are pretty straightforward and consistent. Madam President, I would move that we accept the proposed stipulation for both Sunrise Pharmacy and this.
Crystal Freitas, second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Cobo, second by Ms. Freitas. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you for your time today, Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. All right, we're gonna move to agenda item 5V for Dr. Eric Welling. If we have Dr. Welling or representatives, you could please let us know, raise your hand. Oh, I see Dr. Welling. Okay. Dr. Welling, could you state your full name for the record, please?
Yes, Eric Clark Welling.
Okay, and then will anyone else be joining you today?
No.
Great, so with that, then, I will swear you in. If you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Great, thank you so much. I will turn it over to Ms. Tucker.
Thank you, Madam President. Laura Tucker again for the record. This is item number 5B, Dr. Eric Welling. This can be found on page 2134 of the board book. This is case number 24-078-CS-S. Respondent is Dr. Welling, and his certificate of registration number is CS33340. This accusation stems from a reciprocal discipline, and then also more specifically that Dr. Welling failed to disclose this discipline related to his medical license to the pharmacy board when he renewed his registration. Dr. Welling filed an answer which can be found on page 2143 of the board book. We also have a stipulation to present to you today, which can be found on page 2147 of the board book. The terms are that Dr. Welling agrees to pay an administrative fine of $1,000, remain in treatment and counseling as recommended in his mental health assessment, and agrees to provide quarterly report to the board for the full term of his treatment. Since we entered into this agreement, it's come to my attention that Dr. Welling has actually completed the terms of related to his mental health assessment. And he met with Mark Chase in the year 2024 and has completed that treatment and the quarterly reports. So we no longer need those terms to be a part of this stipulation. That's paragraphs number 7B and 7C, which would leave still the administrative fine of $1,000. So we present this stipulation to the board today for approval with an effective date of today, January 14th, 2026.
Great, Dr. Welling, did you have anything else that you'd like to add or share with the board?
No, except for the fact that as a result of this, I've taken an indefinite leave of absence from my position with U.S. Anesthesia Partners. I'm contemplating retirement. I'm wondering if there's a possibility of putting my license in a suspended, or not suspended, but inactive status until I agree to return to practice, and then at that time I will pay the fine. I'm requesting to have the fine waived until the license is reactivated and in full standing. And then I will pay the fine at that time. I'm contemplating retirement.
Yep, Dave, we, for the record, appreciate that, Mr. Welling. I just procedurally, historically, licensees, there is an inactive status. It's available at the board. Licensees can choose to do that on their own, and the rules for how that is done are available from the board staff. We have not historically done that as part of like a stipulation or discipline, and now it's well within your authority, and Todd's gonna probably give you some advice too. I just want to make sure that you understand that there is an inactive status, but we generally don't, staff doesn't agree to that as a stipulation. I have no knowledge we've ever done that, so.
I didn't know if there was an inactive classification or not for the licensees, and so therefore I was just going to inquire as to whether or not that is a possibility.
Yeah, Mr. Welling, this is Dave Weiss, the executive. I think that it is a legitimate request that you have. I just was making sure the board understood that it is a possibility that status does exist at the Board of Pharmacy.
Okay, thank you.
And this is Senior Dag Todd Weiss. Because that's not something the board would ordinarily vote on, I would not advise including that in the stipulation before us.
Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll proceed with the stipulation that is in front of us. And then that could be something that later on Dr. Welling could discuss.
And just because Mr. Welling probably hasn't been to a lot of board meetings. Todd Weiss is an attorney. He works for the Attorney General. He's not a board staff member. He's separate from prosecution, and he's here to advise the board. So he works for the Attorney General, and he's separate from any board staff.
Thank you.
Okay, so board members, any questions or comments on the stipulation for Dr. Welling?
Well, I guess just in consideration of the request, would anybody be willing to amend 7A so that the payment would be due upon renewal of controlled substance registration?
Shanice Taylor, for the record, I'm not opposed to that idea of amending the stipulation to require payment upon reactivation of the license if you're gonna go in the direction of inactivating it.
So I guess my question for Todd Weiss would be, is that something I could see this happening then potentially more often? Is that something you would advise that we consider, or is that a separate matter that we should keep outside of this stipulation?
This seems Dag Todd Weiss. The discretion on how you want to what you want to make the trigger for the payment is totally up to your discretion. It's something you can do. You know, whether it makes others in the future want to try to do the same thing, I can't speak to that, but it's within your discretion to do.
Adam Porthler, I guess I was trying to get around this whole idea of active versus inactive and just delaying the payment of the penalty until the next renewal cycle, at which time, if you know, whatever Dr. Welling decides to do at that point, you know, he could continue to have his controlled substance license and pay the fine, or choose not to renew.
I feel like, I mean, the only thing I would not want us to try to circumvent is like inactivating the license in lieu of discipline.
Right. I just, whether it's active or inactive is, I think, irrelevant.
Well, I guess for the record, go back to Laura Tucker. I mean, the license is active, right? So the license will be active in the meantime. So I just want to be clear, he's not inactivating it. I think he's trying to get to maybe an inactivation or something, but that's not what's in the stipulation. And again, as far as the time goes, board staff does have the ability to work on time and stuff like that, but like you can extend the time out and say it's not due until that renewal period.
That's what I'm saying.
But I think there's some talk about like, if he doesn't renew, then it's not due. That would not be typical of us. But I agree with Todd. You have full authority to do what you want to do.
I'm okay with extending the due date. There should be a due date.
When is the next renewal period?
It'll be next year, this year. So it's not with the attorneys on this one. We're in 2026. It'll be this year. They renew this year, pharmacists last year. And you can extend it beyond that time. And again, for the record, because Dr. Welling's not here all the time, the fine does not go to the board. The fine goes to the state. It's a separate fund that the state uses it in the general fund. So it's not like the fine comes back to the Board of Pharmacy.
Okay, and then it would be, the renewal period would be then due.
October 31st, 2026. And I don't know, I can't, what's the current payment schedule on the stipulation?
It currently is at. Sorry.
Take your time.
June 3rd, yeah.
June 3rd, thanks. Thanks, Greg.
June
3rd. I don't have a problem with that either, so I would move that we accept the stipulation as presented with the amendment, or for Dr. Welling, with the amendment for paragraph 7A to be October 31st, 2026, rather than June 3rd, 2026.
Can you do me one favor and can we make sure he's in agreement with that since we're modifying it? So you're not out, you're on the right time. I just want to make sure. So Dr. Welling, the Dave Weiss together, they're proposing that they're going to modify your stipulation to give you some more time to pay. But they're not making the decision that you would be able to waive it if you didn't inactivate your license. Are you in agreement with that part of the stipulation?
Yes.
Second.
Okay, great. We have a motion by Mr. Cobo, second by Mr. Porath, and then just for the record, we are striking 7B and C. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. All right, we wish you all the best, Dr. Welling.
Thank you. Appreciate your time today. And thank you, Laura.
President, I'm going to ask that we take another quick break if that's a possibility.
It is a possibility. We'll take a quick break. All right, so we'll continue with our Board of Pharmacy agenda. Next, we'll go to agenda item 7. That is for Gary Royce Weisner. So if we have Dr. Weisner or representatives, if you could please come forward. Hi, good morning.
Morning.
I can have you both state your full names and perhaps titles for the record.
Gary Wisner, orthopedic surgery.
Okay, thank you.
Jessica Gandy, attorney on behalf of Dr. Wisner.
Okay, great. Dr. Wisner, I'm going to swear you in. You could join me. Thank you. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Great, thank you so much. All right, with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Cant.
Right now, for the record, I prosecuted this matter on case number 22423 CS, and the respondent was Gary Royce Wisner, MD, certificate of registration CS 28822. And the board had entered an order in this case after a default hearing on April 12th, 2023, when the respondent failed to appear and revoke the respondent's certificate of registration. And you are in receipt, and it's a set forth the board book beginning at page 2253 with a motion for reconsideration that's been filed by the respondent. My response in opposition begins on page 2376 of the board book, and the respondent's reply begins on page 2383 of the board book. I think it's probably appropriate for respondent and respondent's counsel to make their case, and then I'll respond.
Great, thank you, Mr. Cant. So I'll turn it back to Ms. Gandy.
Good morning, board. Thank you for your time and thank you for hearing us today. We do appreciate the opportunity. The motion and response in this matter, I believe, have been thoroughly briefed. In short, it is Dr. Wisner's position and it is his request that the board reconsider the disciplinary action that was taken in 2023 when a default was entered against him. As the board was aware in 2023, Dr. Wisner was unavailable to appear before the board because he had been incarcerated in the state of California. The board was aware of this. It was part of the board's case in chief, and it was the reason for the disciplinary action. Dr. Wisner is not disputing the allegation in that the discipline was based on the incarceration in the state of California. However, he is asking that the board reconsider due to the totality of the circumstances and due to his inability to appear before the board in 2023, the length of the term of discipline that was enacted by the board. This comes from a number of places, in part because of his inability to present, but also in part because Dr. Wisner's actions were unrelated to his practice of pharmacy. There was no allegations relating to the prescription of medications of any type, controlled or uncontrolled. There were no allegations that any of his patients were in danger at any time. The allegations against him that gave rise to this action were billing related. There were absolutely no allegations of patient danger, of prescribing, of anything of that nature. Dr. Wisner had a long career in medicine prior to these allegations, and prior to this, he had never been subject to any disciplinary actions. Again, he does not dispute the acts which gave rise to this. However, he is asking that as a number of years have passed, he has served his sentence with the state of California. He has righted himself with the Nevada Board of Medical Examiners. He has obtained his license. His license is in good standing and he is able to practice medicine in the state of Nevada. He wishes to do so in a full way, which would also include his controlled substances prescribing abilities to be returned to him. He is willing to submit to board oversight, to probation, to whatever the case may be. However, as I said, he is asking the board to simply reconsider given the totality of the circumstances.
I'll turn it over to Mr. Cant.
Once again, Rick Kemp for the record. And I think as I've stated in my opposition, the board, when it revoked, it was based upon respondent's conviction on 10 felony counts of healthcare insurance fraud in violation of state law. And you specified that the respondent would not be eligible to petition for reinstatement for 5 years for the effective date. Reconsideration is not even timely at this point because Nevada law specifies you have 15 days to file a petition for reconsideration. This is 31 months after entry of the order. And it's clear that it's really a petition for reinstatement because it coincides with the fact that respondent's license to practice medicine was restored by the Nevada State Board of Medical Examiners recently. And there's no justification for revisiting your order and allowing reinstatement of the respondent's revoked CS registration this time. He was given notice of the hearing in compliance with Nevada law. He was not denied due process, and there's really no compelling reason to reinstate his controlled substance registration at this juncture. Your sole determination is whether registration would be consistent with the public interest, and you can consider a wide number of factors relevant to health and public safety. And the fact that his conviction wasn't related to controlled substances is dispositive. So he basically makes two arguments here. One, he's got his licensed practice medicine back, and you should treat him like the medical board's treating him. Once again, I don't think that's compelling justification. And the other one is that the allegation is made that when the board revoked the registration, it did so without the benefit of all relevant information. And this supposedly relevant information were a series of testimonials from the respondents' friends and colleagues attesting to his character. But I want to go back to his conviction, and I'm going to read from the press release that was put out by California Attorney General Ron Bonta, whose office prosecuted and secured the convictions. At which time Attorney General Bonta said, quote, due to Gary Wisner used both his patience and state resources to line his own pockets. Due to his dishonest behavior, patients at his clinic had to undergo unnecessary medical tests so he could steal from the state's Medi-Cal funds. This sentence reaffirms what we know to be true. Abuse of power by medical practitioners will never be tolerated within our state's healthcare system. So, end quote. So the respondent defrauded the Medi-Cal and Medicare programs, defrauded taxpayers, and I think you took that into account. The seriousness, the egregiousness of his acts when you revoked and imposed the 5-year requirement on being able to petition for reinstatement. I think it was appropriate then, and I think it's appropriate now. I have nothing further.
Ms. Gandy, did you want to add any further comments?
Yes, board, thank you for the opportunity. And once again, it is important to recognize that what is seen in a press release is not necessarily what you see in the physician that is sitting before you. A press release is sensational for a reason. It is the state of California putting out a release to the public and saying, look, we did a good thing, we did a good job, here it is. We all understand that a press release is written in the light that is most beneficial to the party that is releasing that information. Dr. Wisner had absolutely no input into that, and he does not agree with the tone of that press release. Again, he does not disagree with the fact that a conviction was entered against him. However, the sensationalism of the matter is not necessarily something that the board should be taking into account. In looking back at the 2023 minutes, it does not appear that there was any particular discussion of, the quote, danger that the public was in because of Dr. Wisner's actions. At the time in 2023, the public was in absolutely no danger because he was not practicing medicine. The doctor that sits before you here today is not putting the public in danger. To the contrary, he is doing what he can to serve the public. There's no danger of him defrauding Medicare, Medicaid, or any other state agency because he has been prohibited from billing those systems. He's not trying to bill those systems. He's merely trying to practice medicine and serve the people of the state of Nevada. Most recently has been serving the people of rural Nevada in Pahrump and Nye County, which is what he has voluntarily chosen to do. He sees that these areas are areas that are high need for medical professionals, and he is attempting to fill these needs. He comes humbly before the board today, simply to ask that they reconsider the facts that were not before them in 2023. In 2023, you did not have an opportunity to speak to Dr. Wisner. You did not have an opportunity to see the type of doctor that he is or the type of person that he is. Instead, all you had is as Mr. Kant has said, you had a press release, you had sensationalism, you had pieces of paper that were able to convey an idea of what was happening, but it is not necessarily the full picture. And it is our position that had the board been able to weigh all of the factors, that much like all of the other pharmacists and doctors that have come before you today, you would have seen and considered the totality of the circumstances. As I have sat here today, for the last several hours, I have heard the board speak to a number of pharmacists and physicians who have done a myriad of things that were against the board's rules and against Nevada revised statute. The board has considered the totality of the circumstances in all of those instances, and no one was disciplined with the severity of Dr. Wisner, despite the fact that there were several pharmacists here that were disciplined for criminal actions, were disciplined for substance abuse actions. Dr. Wisner is not here because of substance abuse or because of mismanagement of pharmacy. And with that, I will submit our case, and I will be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Okay, great, thank you. And then one last opportunity for Mr. Camp. Oh,
If we, for the record, I go to Todd. Just to remind the board what they have in front of them, I think historically Helen's ruled on it. She also has the ability to take a vote on it. If you can just run her through what that is. And then I think, just to be clear, you have the authority within this realm to do what you want. So Todd will tell you that. And then additionally, you have the ability, if you want to proceed to a hearing of some sort, then that would probably be the best path, because you really don't have any evidence in front of you today related to the case that was before you. But I'll give it to Todd to just tidy that up for me.
As Senior DAG Todd Weiss, I agree with the director. I think, I mean, we're hearing facts presented, but this is not testimony. There's been no evidence. It was a default hearing originally. So my strong advice would be that there be a vote on whether to reopen this up for potential hearing. Put that back in that process, as opposed to making a decision off the cuff without there having been any real evidence presented before the board.
thank you.
And you certainly can ask questions too.
And with that, board members, any questions for Ms. Gandy or Dr. Wisner?
Counselor.
Yes.
No, you asked the board to reconsider what, the punishment, the discipline, reconsider what?
Thank you for the opportunity to clarify. We are asking that the board reconsider the length of suspension. The 5-year punishment. At this point, we are edging on 3 of those 5 years having been completed. And we are asking that the board reconsider the necessity for that additional 2 years.
And could you tell me when the Nevada board, physicians board, returned the doctor's license to him?
Yes, I can. So Dr. Wisner entered into a settlement agreement with the Nevada Board of Medical Examiners in the spring of 2024, which included a 1-year suspension followed by a probationary period. The suspension went into effect in, I believe it was June 5th, 2024, and continued until June 5th, 2025, at which time his license was returned to him on a probationary status, which he is currently in active practice under probation.
The terms of the probation.
Most of the terms of the probation had been met prior to the return of the license. He had to complete the San Diego State University PACE program. He had to pay some fines, and he is also, the current term of the probation is the standard don't get in trouble term. and also a monthly chart review by a third party at Dr. Wisner's expense. He's complied with all terms. Monthly chart reviews have been done and have found no inconsistencies or irregularities.
So that's question. So the doctor is practicing medicine right now here in Nevada.
Correct.
And he needs his license to prescribe.
He needs his license to prescribe controlled substances. That's correct. So controlled.
And that's just for the record, I think everybody knows that that's affecting his practice.
It is affecting his practice.
Helen Park, oh, sorry.
No.
I have just a couple questions. When was Dr. Weisner released from incarceration?
I believe Dr. It was September 2nd, 2023.
And just curious as to why doctor waited so long to seek reconsideration.
So at the time of his release, we did reach out to the board when he learned of the actions that had been taken. There was some informal discussion at which time it was decided that while his medical license for the state of Nevada was in question, that reaching out to the board for reconsideration at that time would likely be moot because he wouldn't be eligible for a controlled substances registration without an active Nevada medical license.
And that matches with law. I mean, it doesn't mean they can't petition you, but if you don't, you cannot have a controlled substance if you don't have an active medical license or DO license.
And then with the work that you're doing, what type of controlled substances would you need and why is it necessary for your current position?
I'll let Dr. Wisner address that.
Thank you for the question. I'm trauma surgery in Pahrump, so most of my patients have fractures and are post-operative. And Governor Lombardo has been really helpful to try to get us a CMS waiver for the patients in Pahrump. And I'm living in Pahrump, and trauma surgery almost always is going to need short-term narcotic use. I really try to make sure that we limit it and not create future addicts. But bottom line is 5 days of Vicodin or less. And this is because of the post-operative pain and having to defer to others in the practice gets them involved with your patient care, and they're not surgeons. So
Just for right now, you're referring them to another doctor to address that need. So that's how you're dealing with it right now.
correct.
Okay. I understand.
Yes.
Are you performing any surgeries?
We are scheduled, yes, and I've been waiting to see what happens with the Board of Pharmacy.
What's a CMS waiver that you spoke about the governor giving you?
The Governor Lombardo has been, and his staff have been applying for, it's a CMS waiver. They defer it for 10, 20, 30 years and let you start seeing Medicare and Medicaid patients, because the majority of trauma patients are Medicaid. Some are Medicare, of course, but the waivers are for extended periods of time, usually decades.
If I can help a little bit with it, Dick, it's an insurance issue related to who's providing the service and coverage. And then if there's a particular need, governors of different state can petition CMS to kind of change the rules. It's unclear exactly what rule they're bumping up against, but it's really related to insurance, right?
Adam, for the record, Dr. Wisner, is that because you're on the OIG exclusion list?
Yes. And I never had a charge or a conviction by OIG or HHS.
What's the duration of that exclusion?
20 years, I believe.
I can help you with that a little bit. What the way the feds typically go about it, and it's outside of this. So now we know what the CMS waiver is to allow him to treat these patients, and the governor's asking for that, or he's alleging that the governor's asking that. I'm sure they are. But the OIG will take into consideration actions like this board or the medical board does, and then he can petition them to get out of that earlier. So there's a whole series of events that happen to get you off that list. And then he can see Medicare patients. So he's prohibited from I think from the testimony, my opinion is he may be prohibited from seeing CMS patients. And he's trying to work through that too.
And that is separate and interrelated, yes. As this board is aware, all of these entities, they're not working together. The actions of one entity impact the actions of another entity, and it kind of becomes an interrelated ball of twine, if you will, that Dr. Wisner is slowly trying to pick back apart.
The other board members are thinking. My personal feeling on this, personal feelings is my personal feeling, but although my background is in law enforcement, I'm not a pharmacist. I always felt that if someone pays their debt to society, they shouldn't be held, continue to have to pay that debt to society. I feel we did the right thing when we ruled the last time. I don't think we did anything wrong with putting the doctor on a 5-year period before he could seek his license. I think the board acted appropriately at the time. And I know we didn't have a hearing, and this is not a hearing per se, but just from what I've heard at this proceedings, I think that the board, I'm not opposed to the board considering, and I bow to my board members because they're all pharmacists. But as far as the time frame, if the doctor is practicing medicine in Nevada and he can't practice completely, can't really fulfill his duties, I don't know why he's even bother practicing if he doesn't have the tools to practice. If there's a way to, my feeling for this board, if there's a way to allow him to continue to practice, we need doctors, especially in rural communities. And he's paid his price to society. I'm for, I don't know what we'd have to do is reconsider our length of time on this to allow him to maybe use some, be able to prescribe some medications that would complement his surgical practices. Just not opposed to it. I don't have a hard and fast rule on it, but I do feel that even being in law enforcement and putting people in jail, I spent my whole life putting people in jail. I feel like once they got out of jail, that was it. They paid their price, and if I was able to help them move on in life, I helped those people that I put in jail move on in life. So I feel like we need doctors. He did not do anything to harm patients for what he went to prison for. So I'd be open to suggestions from this board or even the staff, if there's a way to help accommodate them that we feel wouldn't put the general public in danger. I'd like to try it.
Yeah, Dave, please, for the record, I just gonna go back to procedurally, you're gonna make the decisions, but I think procedurally, it's well within your authority to do whatever. And I think that's a very moving speech, and it's always nice to hear from the public member because they have a unique perspective. If you want to move it forward, then we will work with the respondent, and we can get them maybe at a upcoming meeting. We try for the next one, but timing might be difficult for that. And at that point, you get to go back and listen to what happened at the time, what the state has related to that case. And then you also have the opportunity for him to prove that he's paid his debt to society, and he'll be able to put in direct evidence related to that. And then you can rule at that particular time. I think alternatively, Todd would advise you, all it is a petition for rehearing, so it's not a petition to change what happened. We would have to do that at a subsequent meeting. And we'll try to process it as quickly as we can. Right, Todd? I mean, they don't have the ability to just change it, right? Or maybe you say they do, but it's whatever you say.
So, I mean, I'm gonna make this totally confusing and this is gonna throw everything completely off the rails, but I feel like there's a couple relevant statute pieces that I'm gonna read out there and then I'll try to answer questions about because this is a procedurally complicated deal with the reconsideration coming back before the board, so much later than the original decision in order. So the first, we have NRS 639-252 subsection 1, which says if the respondent wishes to contest or appeal the decision of the board, the order or any part thereof, the respondent may, not later than 15 days after the time of the order become effective, apply in writing to the board for a rehearing. And that's what was referenced by Mr. Cant. And then if we go to the next piece of NRS 639-253 subsection 1, it says on conclusion of the rehearing of the board, which I guess this is not a rehearing, and maybe that's where the rub is, right? And that's why I think, so I'm going to read it, but then I'll clarify what I'm talking about here. On conclusion of the rehearing, the board may reaffirm the order previously adopted, or if new evidence is presented which controverts in whole or in part the allegations on which the accusations were based, and the board considers such actions would be in the public interest, the board may reset or reduce the penalty ordered at the conclusion of the original hearing. So I read that to say that in order to, as the director was saying, in order for the board to be able to change or reduce the previously ordered discipline, there has to be another hearing. This is not a hearing in the sense that evidence can be admitted, presented, testimony given, the like. So I think if, obviously this is your discretion, but if the board is inclined, I think the most appropriate remedy here would be to order a rehearing to allow the licensee an opportunity to actually come before us with able to testify, to present evidence, and then allow the board at that time to decide if their original discipline order was appropriate or should be reduced in the interest of health for the state.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss.
Behavioral question. In the interest of time and resources, is it possible for the respondent to waive a hearing for us to just discuss what we've heard to see if there's a possibility to amend the?
I'll give it to Todd. I'll give it to Todd, but I'll talk for the Board of Pharmacy. If you guys, you have to weigh what would be addressed in any kind of appeal towards anything, and board staff is not going to appeal anything you do. So if that's how you choose to proceed, they're not probably going to appeal and we're not going to appeal. So I think I'll turn it back over. I just want to make it clear. You guys know your time, you've heard some things today. I'll leave it to Todd, but whatever you decide is perfectly fine with us.
And this is Senior Dag Todd Weiss. The potential issue to the extent there is one is that, Mr. Can on behalf of the board had no pre-knowledge of what was going to be discussed, presented, testified as to today, which would not be the case if we were having a hearing where evidence would be disclosed. There's some back and forth that goes between the attorneys before hearing. This is kind of we're just hearing this all for the first time. I'm sure this is the first time Mr. Cant's hearing this. So it's certainly more fair to both sides to let this go to an official hearing stance. But I do hear you on the efficiency piece of it and time resources. So I will echo exactly what the director said. You can do whatever you want. But just, some things to consider. So, the doctor is under oath, so everything he said, you can take for that purpose. But again, this is nothing that Mr. Can on behalf of the board had an opportunity to, look into that, what have you, prior to today's proceeding.
Mr. Cant, did you want to comment on that as well?
Yeah, so Frank Camp on the record, by way of brief background, I think I mentioned in the footnote that
Dr. Wisner initially filed a petition for reinstatement last year. And board staff didn't place it on the agenda because you'd issued an order that said you can't petition for reinstatement for 5 years. So we didn't put it on the agenda. If you amended your order today and said changed 5 years to 2.5 years, then if you filed another petition for reinstatement, we'd put it on the agenda because the 2.5 years has passed. Does that make sense?
I just, one more thing. Again, not telling you which way you go, but if you amend the order, you do not have an application in front of you today. So like that application would still have to go, and that could potentially require, I mean, I think it would require an appearance to be able to do that. So if you want to go down the path of decreasing the time and you want to direct them that he's eligible to reapply, if he does that in a timely manner, you could see him at the next board meeting. And then at that point, he doesn't have, you won't have given him the license today. He needs to do that at the next meeting. And then again, you can, at that particular time, listen to anything that you want to listen to and approve that license or deny that license at that time.
At the next meeting, would that be considered a hearing or?
It would be an application appearance, yeah. And again, I think you have the ability to direct me that you don't want to see him at the next meeting, and then if he applies, I'll give him the license. And I've done that before, listening to what you guys have to say, because ultimately the law says I can grant the license unless you put some condition on they have to appear. And you don't have the ability to put that condition right now. Because I guess you do, like Todd said, you probably do have the ability, but you haven't heard any. It would be atypical from hearing to hearing before you do any kind of conditions. I still think we're very strong procedurally. We know what we're doing. We're just trying to answer your questions.
For the record, I guess contrary to that is that the whole premise of the argument for reconsideration is due process. And so if we're talking about circumventing that, I would be more inclined to have a rehearing.
If I could, I do appreciate that, and I appreciate the irony of that so well. The difference is today we are here, and today we are part of the conversation. In 2023, we did not have the opportunity to be a part of the conversation.
And Adam, to your point, yes, a hearing would be fine. I think procedurally a hearing is fine. I'm not saying you have to skip that.
I just want to echo everything that I feel like they've made a very compelling argument. The doctor is serving a well underserved population within our community. I feel like he served his time. While, you know, his wrongdoing had to do with moral turpitude, I feel like the risk is very low to the public. If anything, it'll benefit the public for him to have his controlled substance license. And to be a trauma surgeon with no controlled substance license is, you know, just not doable. And I don't feel a hearing is necessary. I think we've heard what we need to hear, but that's just my personal opinion.
And yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. I just, you know, wanted to put it out there that, you know, just to consider that was another thing there. So I also, you know, am sympathetic to Board Member Tomaso's sentiments. I think that we need all the providers that we can in rural Nevada. And I don't think that, you know, given the nature of what happened before, that the public would be in danger if we reconsidered controlled substance registration for Dr. Wisner.
Okay, so then do we want to make a motion? It would be a motion to add Dr. Wisner to an upcoming board meeting for an application for controlled substances.
Would it need to modify the original order?
Correct.
It'd be.
I think Todd will walk you through what you have to do.
This is Senior Deck Todd Weiss. Yeah, the proper procedural motion here would be to amend the previous disciplinary order to reduce the amount of time before Dr. Wisner can apply for reinstatement to whatever time period is right now. And then that would make him eligible to do that and appear at a future board meeting to make his case for reinstatement.
Yeah, for example, if you amended it from 5 years to 30 months, 2.5 years, then under the terms of the order, he's eligible to petition for reinstatement and can fill out and apply to you and appear before you on a CS application.
Okay.
For the record, I would move that we modify the original order for Dr. Gary Wisner to read from 5 years to 30 months for reconsideration for substance registration.
This is Helen Park, I'll second. So we have a motion by Jay Jacobo, second by Helen Park. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes.
Okay, for just procedurally. The deadline for the next meeting is, we're looking at, we're probably past it, but, and that meeting is already scheduled. But if they can get it, we'll talk to you after this, but if you can get it in like immediately, we can make an attempt to have it at that next meeting. Otherwise, the meeting after that will be in April. So next meeting's March. Be the 4th and 5th, I think, of March. Yeah.
Move that respondent not have to appear for reapplication, I think.
Yeah, I think I'll leave it to Todd. I just want to say procedurally, that's what it looks like. And so I'll leave that for Todd.
This is again, Senior Deck Todd Weiss. This one's a heavy lift. As you know, as the director said a few minutes ago, like, yes, you can give up the discretion to have it heard before the entire board and direct the director and staff of, approve the application at their behest. That can be done if you would like.
We would do all the typical vetting that we do anyway, so we would, and I know you know this, we look at the national data bank on doctors. We don't do fingerprints on doctors like we do pharmacists because we leave that, but we'll match that up. And then if his disclosures don't match, then that would be an automatic appearance at that particular time. If they match up, then we would make the decisions. If I see something or Jens sees something that we haven't discussed today, that could also trigger another appearance.
Let's just start with receiving the application.
Well, I mean, I think that in lieu of no movement, it will be an appearance on my behalf. So I think if you want the possibility for no appearance, then I would make a motion to that, like Todd's telling you to do. Because I'm going to bring, that's just we have set procedures that I'm going to, but I will take your direction on any applicant.
That,
I think you already have a pending motion, but
Oh, they voted on it, yeah.
Right, so we're
I waited.
gonna bring it back and amend the motion that was just voted on.
so I have to amend the motion for the original, that one too, okay.
Yeah, let's just redo the entire motion so we get it clean for the record.
Okay, so I amend my original motion to also include, the caveat that Dr. Wisner need not appear in front of the board for reapplication if, on the condition that his disclosures match, what his application rates.
No further concerns.
No further,
And no
yes.
further concerns from board staff.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we had an amended motion from Jay Jacobo, second by Mr. Richard Tomaso. Any further discussion?
I just want to say, I'm grateful that the board is seriously considering what we're doing. But for the 6 years I sat on this board, we've had people come before us with applications that have had felonies. And but the felony had nothing to do with the practicing as a doctor or practicing as a pharmacist. The felony had nothing to do with the patient harm. This is maybe on a larger scale, but I think also one of those cases that didn't cause any harm to anybody in the past. He didn't go to jail for hurting anybody physically. But I just want to say that that's why I seconded the motion. I feel comfortable that if we brought him back we're just gonna we're gonna question him about what he was incarcerated for. I don't think that's necessary. So I would like the board to consider this pretty seriously.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Can I thank you, Ms. Park, but starting with Mr. Weiss and Mr. Camp, thank you very much, and Mr. Tomaso. I don't know all of your names, but thank you so much. And for Mr. Weiss and Mr. Zanino to get me on the agenda, thank you so much. I won't let you down.
Thank you, Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Waldmeister. Appreciate that. All right, I think with that, shall we break for lunch and we'll be back at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We're gonna continue with our Board of Pharmacy meeting. Our next agenda item is for 5D. That's for Christopher Lapata. So if I have Christopher Lapata or representatives, if you could please come forward or let us know through Zoom or raise your hand.
Yes, Attorney Steve Karen. I'm on Zoom.
Okay,
Really good.
great. Will there be anyone else joining you today?
No.
Okay. All right. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Kim.
Greg Camp for the record, prosecuting this matter on behalf of the state. This case number 23442 CSS, respondents Christopher Lapana, APRN, certificate of registration number CS 31815. And for reference, the charges appear beginning on page 1737 of the board book. The respondent through counsel filed an answer and notice of defense. That appears beginning on page 1756. And we do have a stipulation for your consideration and possible approval today. That begins on page 1761 of the board book. And so by way of brief background, the allegations involved prescribing dangerous drugs to patients with whom the respondent did not have a bona fide therapeutic relationship is detailed in an order from the Nevada State Board of Nursing and by the respondent's failure to timely report that disciplinary action by the nursing board. So what we propose by way of stipulated discipline is that the respondent's certificate of registration number CS 31815 is suspended for 1 year, but the suspension stayed in the respondent's place on probation, and will accept the stipulation as a public reprimand, will pay a $5,000 fine, pay $1,000 to partially reimburse the board for reasonable attorney's fees and recoverable costs, payment for both to be due by July 3rd of this year, and compliance with all relevant laws and no additional charges while on probation upon the successful completion of which the respondent's registration will be fully restored. So this is the stipulation we're presenting for your consideration. Thank you.
Mr. Karen, did you want to add any additional information?
Yeah, a few things. I put in my answer that there was only a total of 9 patients involved. 7 of those did not fill the prescriptions because their insurance companies denied the payment. They denied them. 2 of them did. And the prescriptions those prescriptions were from Monjuro. Although he admits that these were family and friends and he did not profit at all from this. Those 2 that he prescribed to, and I put in my answer, were for legitimate medical purposes. They were for either diabetes or for weight loss, Monjuro. And since then, he did go on, as counsel mentioned, he's had reciprocal discipline with the Nevada State Board of Nursing that consisted of continuing education. And he's in compliance with that. That was an agreement that was entered into. Let me just check the date here. I believe it was June of 2024. But he's been in full compliance with that. And this is the proposal here is still pretty stiff. It's a heavy fine. given what the situation is here. So we do think it is appropriate, and it was negotiated at arm's length. Oh, and one more thing, in regards to the not reporting, that may have been, I'm going to say partly my fault, but let me explain what happened there. I was in contact with the board's representative. They had emails from me going back to April of 2024, and May I followed up, May of 2024, I believe. And then there was a big gap where I didn't hear from them, and then apparently they filed the action, and I think Mr. Counsel will note to you that this is correct. So there was a big gap in communication there, and that's kind of fell through the cracks as to what happened with the reporting. So there wasn't any intent to not report anything. But
Thank you. Mhm.
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, please continue.
I think that's it. I mean, unless the board has any questions.
Thanks. Board members, any questions on this stipulation?
I agree with the terms of the stipulation, but I just want to point out the fact that just because insurance collected employees bills prescriptions doesn't mean that it was inappropriate prescribing. But Jacob, for the record, I move that we approve the post update stipulation for Christopher LaPlata.
I'm for saying.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a motion by Ms. J. Jacobo and a second by Mr. Porath. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. All right, we thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Madam President, Dave Weiss for the record. I know we just had a break, but if you could just do a quick 5-minute one, then we can release Todd. We're gonna, for the board that they don't know, we've moved some people over from tomorrow that have agreed to go today, 4 different items. One's at least one's here in person. So we'll continue to go through that. I will take our last public comment. We'll do our reports, and that'll make it an easier day for you tomorrow if we continue on that. So just give us a break to kind of resettle the room, and we'll go from there.
Take a quick break. We will continue with our Board of Pharmacy agenda. The next agenda item is 9A, and that is for APRX LLC. So if we have representatives here or online, if you could please come forward, raise your hand, or let us know through the chat function, or press *9 or *6.
Madam President, I may have not told you, but Evergreen's Pharmacy is here too, just so that you know that. They may have been told 1:30, just so you know.
I see some hands, yeah.
Get them. We're attempting to unmute you. If you can unmute yourself.
Yes, I did it. Thank you so much.
Was your intent to have your video on or just audio today?
I have audio only. It's okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, is there anyone else that will be joining you? Oh, there is one.
You think so?
Yes, my pharmacist. Yes, there's Paulina.
Okay. Are we all on?
I don't know if Paulina were able to get on.
We can see them. We've asked them to unmute themselves if they can speak.
Elena, are you there?
She sent me a message saying that can unmute.
Tell her to hit *9 on her phone.
Okay. Hello, this is Paulina.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Oh, good.
All right, will it be just the two of you today for APRX?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so if I could have you both, maybe starting with Ms. Durante, if you can state your full name, titles for the record, one at a time.
Yes, Sylvia Hernandez Durante, and I'm represented the APRX LLC,
Thank you.
and I am the owner.
Okay, great, thank you. Paulina, if you could state your full name.
Okay, this is Paulina. No, I'm the PIC.
Okay, I'm gonna swear you both in. I just need a separate verbal affirmation from each of you. Okay, you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes. Yes.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, I'll turn it over to Ms.
Thank
Young.
you.
Thank you, Madam President. This is Skylar Young for the board. Agenda item 9A starts on 2453. It's an application for a new pharmacy doing business as APRX. The application reflects that it will be located in Las Vegas as a retail pharmacy and provide dangerous drugs, controlled substances, and do non-sterile compounding. As stated, the owner is Sylvia Durante, who has provided Paulina No to be the designated representative. I have a few questions for you both. I'll start with you, Ms. Durante. Can you walk us through your background? Can you walk us through your background and qualifications as the owner of a new pharmacy? Do you need me to repeat the question, Ms. Durante?
Yes. Yes, please.
Okay, can you kind of walk us through your background and qualifications?
Yes.
Okay. What are you doing right now for employment?
For what?
Have you ever owned a business before, Ms. Durante?
No. It's my first business that I'm gonna own.
Okay. Why do you want to open up a pharmacy?
Well, it's because I am retired already, and I sold some property in Mexico, so I want to invest that money. And I like to give service to the people, so it's a way that I can be helping the people, and at the same time, I will be busy. I know that we can console in a lot in a pharmacy and, well, help people.
Are you currently located in Las Vegas?
Yes.
How do you plan on getting clients?
Well, first of all, we have to do a wonderful service so that people like what we are doing, and like that by mouth to mouth, I will get clients. And besides that, of course, I'm gonna go and visit different places to let them know that I have the business and I can give service to them.
What's your plan for staffing the pharmacy?
Can you repeat the question?
Do you have a plan for hiring staff?
Oh, yes. That's why I have the pharmacist, and well, she is going to help me to get the technicians and the people that we need. Really, she's the one that is going to be directing me.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Do you have any family members who are medical practitioners or
Excuse me, I didn't understand.
Do you have any family members who are medical practitioners?
Oh, no. I don't have a family here except my husband, and he's a driver, so no.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'm going to pass questions
You're welcome.
to my colleague.
Okay,
Thank you, Ms. Young.
Thank you.
Paulina, this is Joe Dodge. I just have a few questions for you.
Sure.
On the application, it was checked that your pharmacy is going to perform non-sterile compounding. Were you aware of that?
Yes, I am aware of that, sir. I
Great.
guess they're just starting out, providing non-sterile, at least I say, alternatives to provide with the community. So they're just trying to set up like a USP 795.
What type of non-sterile compounding products do you anticipate performing at the pharmacy?
It depends. We're thinking of HQ cream at first, or anything that the nearby physician dispense for the patient. It could be hormone replacement, but whichever the geographic area in that domain.
And can you provide some experience that you have specifically related to non-sterile compounding? I noticed on your application, you stated that you worked at Partel Pharmacy, but you didn't put any dates on there as to when you worked there. Is that where you obtained your experience as it relates to non-sterile compounding?
Yes, sir. I've been with Partel since October, August of last year. So I'm one of their part-time pharmacists. So I do also non-sterile verification and also commercial medication also. So that's where I get my experience from to, helpfully guide or else, direct Ms. Sylvia on this kind of like pharmacy.
And I'm pretty familiar with Partel Pharmacy. So do you actually work in their non-sterile lab, as they call it, or do you work more on the verification side there?
I work at the beginning, I kind of like a little bit of training, but no, I do not go into the lab. I particularly verify outside.
Are you familiar with the revised USP 795 guidelines as it relates to non-sterile compounding?
As of right now, no, sir. I'm just looking into it because I guess they were just trying to implement this into the pharmacy. So we're kind of like a learning process for us also.
And where will you receive your formulas for the non-sterile products?
As of right now, we're just having providing this, but once we implement or get the clientele, I guess we're gonna have a non-sterile pharmacist come on board to train us.
So at this point, you don't have any formulas that you've created yourself. Would you purchase them from somebody?
Sir.
Would you purchase them from a manufacturer?
This I have to discuss it with the owner and see, or else if she has another pharmacist on hand that has the formulation or have the experience. But as of right now, it hasn't been discussed yet.
Where would you purchase your bulk substances from for the non-sterile compounding?
That would be later on discussed with the owner.
Okay, so do you feel like you have the capabilities of doing non-sterile compounding services at this point?
At this point, later on, yes, but at this point, we're just still gathering the information, sir, to implement this. I guess we're just trying to get the board on hand and to see what is required of this particular session and to implement it.
Do you think it would make sense at this point that if your application is approved, that today it would just be for retail pharmacy and then you could add non-sterile in the future once you have made the appropriate arrangements to be trained?
That would be appropriate, yes.
Okay, thank you. I would agree with that statement.
Dave Weiss for the record. Sylvia, this is Dave Weiss. I'm the exec. Who are you going to use to purchase your commercially available drugs?
Well, really, right now, I don't know, because right now, what we want to get is the permission. And if I get it, well, then I'm going to start getting people that really train me correctly and show me exactly what are the board pharmacy statements and also being the legal according to the state and the federal law.
Okay. And then your software for dispensing prescriptions, what software company are you thinking of using?
Well, I think it will be looking into it. I haven't decided anything.
I think for the board staff, and again, we want to encourage business. Pharmacy is a highly regulated business. And so we generally would want these things in place before you apply. If the board does move forward with your application today, it'll require an inspection and we will make sure those are in place. I think
yes, perfect.
We'll turn it over to the board right now and we can help you with how you want to proceed. But there's obviously concerns about just the basic functionality of the pharmacy at this point. I do appreciate people coming early in the process, but it may be a little too early, I think, but that'll be for you to decide. So we'll turn it back over to you. And Skylar, did you have more? If you did,
Nothing for me right now.
okay, yeah.
So this is Helen Park. So for Ms. Durante and Ms. Snow, based on the answers that you provided today, in my assessment, it does not sound like you are prepared to open your pharmacy. It sounds like you're quite some ways away. Again, I think it's great that you're starting early, but I think that there needs to be a little bit more groundwork established in terms of understanding how the pharmacy operates, maybe your standard policies, procedures, looking into your wholesalers, and then determining your plans in terms of what to offer. And it just, I'm not quite certain today that we have all the information we need to make that decision.
Yeah, and Dave Weiss to help the board just a little bit, and again, it's your decision, but I mean, these are typical questions that we ask. And these are the answers to which you're basing your determination if it's a pharmacy that can function and stay in business and take care of the public. And so not being able to answer these basic questions, I think you will weigh.
And the thing,
Okay, it's because I thought we could do during the process. Because really, I didn't want to pay if I'm not gonna be getting the license. So once that I get the license, I will get all the people that I need and all the equipment, because I have part of the equipment when I bought the facility, but and I have the and I'm gonna buy the software, but of course, until I know that I am capable to do the business, otherwise I can invest and then I don't get it, the license, that it will be money to the garbage.
Yeah, this is Dave Weiss for the record. I don't want to answer for the board, but I'll since we're doing the questions right now, I'll do it. I can appreciate that line of thought. To get the license is $500 for 2 years. It's like the least expensive thing of the whole project. And so I think having a business that is make or break over a very limited amount of money, it puts the public at potential risk. Running a pharmacy, it can be an expensive business to set up. I mean, we haven't even talked about contracts, and if you're going to do insurance, and that's thousands and thousands of dollars to do those things. And so
exactly that I know. But I won't do it until I know that I have the permission, because if I start doing that first and then I don't get the permission, that will be gone.
Yeah, I don't think
that's
the law.
Why
I mean, the law
I didn't have it before.
The law is not set up.
Then,
Go ahead, Sylvia.
Sorry,
You're fine.
I interrupted.
Oh, I think the law is not set up that way. The law is set up. The board's supposed to judge whether the pharmacy can function if they have the right things in place. So if you come with nothing, it's difficult for them to judge that. What are they looking at to say that this is a business that should be approved? So I think that I'll turn it back over to Madam President. I think she'll give you a path. I think she'll devise a path for you that will let you to continue on this journey. But I just felt from board staff's perspective, I wouldn't even know what to tell you if you don't have these. And again, I understand your model, or your process, but I
Okay.
mean, they're very basic things. I think your pharmacist,
Mhm.
good you're relying on her, but I'll just turn it over to you.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this is Helen Park again. So we want you to be successful. If this is your desire to open a pharmacy. Again, it's a highly regulated, pharmacies are highly regulated, and so there's a lot that I think in terms of learning, education, and infrastructure that you need to be familiar with. I would recommend that you work closely with your pharmacist and then
Okay.
potentially put together your business plan, who you plan to work with, who you plan to
Okay.
contract with, how you plan to obtain new clients or new patients. All of those things are pretty, as Mr. Weiss stated, are standard questions, but those are
Mhm.
to assess your readiness to open a pharmacy and to be successful. And so I think
Okay.
your intentions are good and that you want to get started and do things in the correct order. I just think it's a little bit too soon because you don't have any answers to
Okay.
the questions that we need answers.
Mhm.
So my recommendation to
Okay.
you, and this is something for you to
Mhm.
consider, is to table your application for today. Work with your
Uh-huh.
pharmacist, figure out a little bit more in terms of how you want to operate your business. And then we can see you at a future meeting. So
Okay.
tabling your application is postponing it. Would you be okay tabling your application today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, great. So we'll go ahead and table your application, and then we will look forward to seeing you at a future board meeting.
Thank you. Okay, I really appreciate your help. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good
May
day.
I say something?
Oh,
You
yes.
too. Thank you. Likewise.
Can the staff tell her that we're not asking her to spend any money? You're asking her to do is line up where she's gonna get all her supplies, where she's gonna do, how she's gonna do her, but can the staff contact her and tell her what we're actually asking her to do without spending any money, just to set the whole thing up?
Yes, sir.
I see, her concern is I don't wanna
Yes.
buy all this and then you won't give me the license. But we're telling her, well, we'll give you the license if you tell us how you're gonna, where you're
Okay.
gonna get your
Yes.
supplies. So, can we do that?
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, Sylvia, it's hard when you're not here to see he's asking staff a question, so you're doing good. I'll answer that particular question. I think you know the answer already, Dick. The staff is available to help people, and we do that all the time. It becomes a point
Thank you.
where we can't run the business, right? So like when we can only do a layer of it, and we will provide that later. And I was going to say that at the end, so glad you brought it up. Like staff's available to discuss. I know the pharmacists know how to talk to the Board of Pharmacy. So the pharmacist can talk to Joe and Skylar after this, and we will help them. And I think that they need a business plan and a potential blueprint, and we can provide those kinds of things. They're just so inherent to becoming a pharmacy that there's a huge challenge.
I understand all that. What I'm thinking is, she may have misunderstood you, that she thinks she has to buy the software, she has to go out.
Oh, yeah.
I just need her to know that we're not telling her to do anything.
And we don't charge for that service, so yeah, she can talk to us, yeah. So I'll say it clearly for the, Sylvia, the board staff is available after this to talk. Skylar will be your contact person. So you can reach her at the board office, 775-850-1440, and then just hit the prompt for Skylar. And then she can help explain. When you're in the middle of it, it goes fast. So she'll explain what happened today and explain what your next steps would be if you want to proceed.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your help.
775, and you can just Google us, but 775-850-1440. And Skylar Young is the person that you'll be your primary contact with the board.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. I appreciate very much your help.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to our next agenda item. We'll go for 9B for Evergreen Drugs. So if you could please come forward.
While they're coming, I just want to say, because many of my questions will relate, Evergreens, not to be confused, Evergreen, because we have an Evergreen pharmacy. And I'll be asking some questions about that because I'll be quiet.
Thank you for clarifying that. Evergreens, drugs. All right, and then we have, it looks like 3 individuals. Is that correct?
Yeah, our pharmacist will attend over the Zoom.
Okay, I see. Yep.
Yeah.
And then the 2 of you, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'll need is for each of you to state your full name and titles for the record, and let's start with the gentleman in the room.
My name is Kishan Tolia and I am the owner.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Uttam Belaria and I am the manager.
Thank you. That leaves you, Sean.
Oh, I'm Sean Tran, currently PIC pharmacy owner for Evergreens Drugs in Henderson, Nevada.
Okay, great. I'm going to swear all 3 of you in. I just need a verbal affirmation from each of you. So if you could say it in the order you introduced yourself. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
I do. Yes, I do.
Yes.
Right, thank you.
Billy, do you need a minute to fix that? We want to make sure that, I mean, you want a minute to?
Yeah, a minute.
Okay, but can we just we lost the Zoom for them, for the public, and so if we could just have 5 minutes to fix that, that would be great. Sorry.
Take a quick break for some technical issues.
Please.
Okay, all right, we're gonna continue with 9B Evergreens Drugs. Gentlemen, you are all still sworn in, and I'll turn it over to Mr. East.
Thank you, Madam President. Dave Weiss for the record. Just a few things before we get into the ownership. This is an ownership change for a pharmacy. We'll talk through what that ownership means and the qualifications of the ownership. But before I do there's another pharmacy, Evergreen Pharmacy. They're now closed. I think it's a matter of public record that we've had interest in that pharmacy and had an investigation against that pharmacy. So do you have any relationship to Evergreen Pharmacy at 4110 South Maryland?
No, we do not. I do not.
Okay, so that wipes out a ton of line of questioning for me, which is nice. And so let's just talk about, before we get to the new owners, the history of it, because I think it's wrapping, I personally think that it's wrapping around, but I might not have my memory correct. So Sean, who's going to own the pharmacy? State your name. Oh, 2. Okay.
Oh,
2. Sean, you're not going to be part of the ownership.
no, I am not. I'm planning to retire.
Okay, and have you owned it in the past?
Yeah, I own it since 2005 when we first opened.
Okay, and you currently own it?
Yes.
And you owned it the whole time?
Yes.
Okay, and how did you meet these 2 guys?
I was introduced to them by the wholesaler AmerisourceBergen acquisition team.
Okay, so you were looking to sell your pharmacy, you went to Amerisource, and then they kind of helped broker a deal?
Yes, so they find a potential buyer to transfer over. Since I've been operating the pharmacy for about 21 years now, and then I think it's time for me to kind of retire.
Sounds good. And then for the board members, in the board book, Sean at this pharmacy has had discipline in the past. He properly disclosed that. That's in the board book. It's relatively salacious, but we're years and years past, I think it's 2009 or so. So I don't think that I have any concerns related to that. Any new administrative actions or anything on you, Sean, just to get that out of the way since that time?
No, there are no disciplinary action. I am in good standing at this point.
Great, thank you. Okay, so now to the 2 gentlemen that are in front of us. Can you just repeat your name for the record? Because there was a lot going on I was watching the tablet, not you.
My name is Kishan Dolia.
Kishan?
Yeah. Uttam Belaria.
One more time.
Uttam.
Uttam.
A-M. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna, if it's okay, I'll call you by your first name. So Utam, why do you want to own a pharmacy?
So I did start the pharmacy working since 2023. January 2023, I was working I did start as a clerk in Southgate Pharmacy, and then I did study business administration in finance and accounting. And after that, on 2025, I'm still working there in a Bright Care Pharmacy, starting as a clerk, and now I'm a manager there with the technician, because I recently got the pharmacy technician in California. So I did think that helping people with earning money, it's more better for me. So I do wanna still helping people in my life.
Okay, and I'm not picking up on the name. Is that a pharmacy that's located in California or here? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, just spell for the record, can you spell the name of the
Yeah,
pharmacy?
the pharmacy I did starting first is a Southgate Pharmacy,
Okay,
and then now I'm working in a Bright Care Pharmacy.
okay.
Bright Care, yeah.
Okay. And then you're a technician in California.
Yes,
Uh,
since October 2025.
and where are you living right now?
I'm living in Long Beach, but I do see here the apartments close to the pharmacy in Henderson. So once I get approval from the board, I do have planning to move here. And working in a pharmacy manager as a full-time.
Okay. And again, for the record, you did, Utam, you did fill out that you're gonna be the manager of Evergreen's Pharmacy, and you've filled out that proper. So are you the primary of the two people, or explain the business to me? Who you own half and half, or how's it go?
No, so he owned the 70%.
Okay.
I own the 30%.
I might be talking to the wrong person. Okay, and then, do you work at the same pharmacy too down there?
No, I have Right Care Pharmacies in my pharmacy.
Say that again?
Right Care.
Where's that located?
It's in Covina, in California.
That's why I don't recognize any. I know about every pharmacy in Nevada. I don't recognize.
No.
So you're from California too right now, and you own a pharmacy now.
I have a partnership in 5 different pharmacies.
Okay, and are you part of the operation of that pharmacy? Do you day-to-day operations of it?
In Right Care Pharmacy, yes.
Yes, okay. And then, so how long have you owned that?
6 years now.
Okay, so will this pharmacy operate in a similar fashion to the pharmacy that's over there, except for the changes in Nevada law?
Yes.
Okay, and then that pharmacy, it's been operating for 6 years. Did any administrative actions on that pharmacy or anything? And what kind of primary businesses does that pharmacy?
We are having a startup in a medical building. So we have
The new one's in a medical building too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and the one down in California is in a medical building? Okay, that's
a medical building with the internal medicine, pediatrics, urgent care, so that we get everything and then our main thing is our service. We don't let patient wait for more than 5 minutes for a pickup.
okay. And then just because it's come up earlier, you have your wholesaler picked out for who you're gonna use? Who's that gonna be?
AGC.
Okay, and then AmerisourceBergen, and then software, you're gonna use the same software as the others?
Right.
Okay, and it's the same one?
Yes.
So the policies will transfer over here too? Okay. And then so have you been into the pharmacy and seen the pharmacy and those kinds of things? Okay. Sean, did you have any concern? I know you're financially motivated, but you're under oath. Do you have any concerns about these two guys coming over from California and running a Nevada pharmacy?
No, I met them. We have been in contact, conversation since July. They did come up. I did meet them. They look like the potential new owner. They have operate pharmacies in the past or currently, so I'm pretty sure and confident that they can take over. Our pharmacy, just FYI, it's been running since 2005. We're in the medical building servicing the community and also for the St. Rose Hospital in Henderson. So it's been operating and it's going great. just finding the right people who know how to operate. And since Uttam and Parish has been operating in California with multiple pharmacies, so I have great confidence that they can continue to take care of our patients in the area.
All right, and Karish, what background schooling did you have, if any?
I have done my med school in China, and then I have practiced 2 years in India. Then I moved here and I just jumped into the pharmacy business.
I know that I've seen this a lot, that for some reason that transition happens. So I don't know what causes it,
But
but
it just caused because once I did my med school in China and then worked in India for 2 years, it's been 8 years I have worked there. Then when I come back here, I have to give my exams and then residency and a fellowship. That takes 8 years.
so you just want to go into business. Yeah, I've seen this a lot. Not that I'm endorsing, but I have seen it. I think that it gives you a unique perspective. So as far as Nevada laws, I mean, Sean probably knows them, but we're different than California in many different ways. And I'm not going to give you a law test per se, but hey, you're aware of NAC and NRS 639 as it relates to pharmacy law in Nevada? Have you? Yeah.
I have read them. Yeah.
Are you aware of the current staffing regulations that are going through the board right now? Are you prepared to follow the law related to staffing if the board changes that?
If it just resolved like in a few days, then I don't know. But
It's not obligated, but like I think that California, so if you operate in California, they've gone through staffing things, having another pharmacist readily available and things that they've done. So you've complied with what California. I think Nevada's we're in the process of attempting something different. So you'll have to, but if there's a regulation that requires you to staff a pharmacist or two at a particular time, you'll follow those laws.
Yeah, whichever laws we will follow that.
Okay, and then that in California, are you allowed to have the key to the pharmacy in California as the owner or only the pharmacist?
Only pharmacist.
Okay, that's the same here. Appreciate both of you. I'll turn it to the board if you have any other questions. Joe, he wants to ask questions because he's very familiar with the pharmacy.
I'll just make a quick comment. So Evergreen's Drug, I actually inspected them in July of last year on their annual inspection. There was a minor issue with technician not having the appropriate CE completed, but that was adjudicated in a timely fashion. As Sean mentioned, this is located in St. Rose Sienna Medical Office Building. It's a small operation. It's a one pharmacist operation, one technician doing about 50 prescriptions a day. My question is, it sounds like Mr. Tran's going to retire. Do you guys have a succession plan for a pharmacist in charge if Mr. Tran retires?
Yes, we have next PAC over there.
Oh, great. Fantastic. All right, thank you.
This is Helen Park. I just had a question about, I just want to make sure I heard it correctly earlier. Did you say as part of your business model, the wait will be no longer than 5 minutes?
No, we said that patient will not wait more than 5 minutes for the waiting time for the pickup of the medication.
Okay, so patients will not have to wait longer than 5 minutes? Okay, wow. How are you going to do that?
I mean, we do have a staffing and we do have a prioritize the process. Like when the patient is in a waiting list, we have different baskets and the pharmacist will do the prioritize the stuff and then let the patient get the medication and leave.
Is it 5 minutes or it's free?
I was going to say, I don't know what happens.
I think that's what was her point was. You're going to shoot for it, but you're not going to like go so fast that it's a risk, right?
I mean, pharmacist has his own time, but like right now in our setup, like most of the pharmacists are very capable to do it. And then that's how we do provide the services to the patients. And that's why I think our model in California is very successful because doctors and patients love us.
Speed efficiency is good, and then of course not at the expense of safety. My just last question for you is, as the owners, how do you know each other?
So we are from the same city in India, basically.
Okay.
And then he came here for the study, and then as we are in one city area, like a LA area, and we have a temple nearby, so we just met at the temple, and then we just became friends.
Great. All right. Any other questions, board members? I think the owners seem to have a lot of experience in pharmacy ownership, so I don't have any concerns.
I don't know, either Adam Porth, for the record, I would move that we approve ownership change for Evergreen's Drugs.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Porath, a second by Mr. Kobo. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. We wish you all the best.
Thanks so much for your time, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, next we'll call for agenda item 9D, and that's for Hope Christian Pharmacy. If we have representatives from Hope Christian Pharmacy, please come forward. Hi, good afternoon. All right, if we could have each of you state your full name and perhaps your title for the record.
Stephen Flores, CEO, Hope Christian Health Center and Hope Christian Pharmacy.
Great, thank you.
Hi, see.
Nicole. Hi, Nicole.
Buddy.
All right, so for the record, I am familiar with Nicole. However, I feel that I could participate fairly and unbiased in this matter. Good to see you, Nicole. Right?
Miles Adamson, Chief Operating Officer at Hope Christian Health Center and Hope Christian Pharmacy.
Okay, great. I'm going to swear all three of you in together. I just need a verbal affirmation from each. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, Ms. Young.
Thank you, Madam President. This is Skylar Young for the board. Agenda item 9D starts on page 2534, an application for a new pharmacy, Hope Christian Pharmacy. The application reflects that it will be located in North Las Vegas as a retail pharmacy, and it's my understanding that the pharmacy will be operating within the Hope Christian Health Center. I've got a few questions. Whoever knows the answer, feel free to chime in. I'm going to start with Stephen Flores. And why did you open Hope Christian Health Center, and why do you want to open a pharmacy at this time?
Hope Christian Health Center is a fairly qualified health center and the only FQHC headquartered out of North Las Vegas. We see almost 3,000 patients a month, 29,000 patients last year. We since 2020 had a contract pharmacy. They have since moved out, and with the different restrictions, we decided to just have the pharmacy under Hope Christian Health Center. The clinic that we're in, 50% of the patients we see are from that clinic. However, this pharmacy will serve patients that are seen in other clinics also. 70% of our patients live under the poverty level. So as an FQHC and access to 340B, we get the discount that we could just hand off to the patient.
Have you had other experience in the health field prior to Hope Christian Health Center?
Yes, for about 12 years prior, I ran 2 different FQHCs in California. I've been one of the founders for Hope Christian Health Center. We've been open since 2014 and an FQHC since 2015.
What is your plan for staffing the pharmacy?
Nicole, the first step. And we already have somebody in line to be a pharmacy tech. And then based on how quickly it picks up, we'll go from there.
And do you guys have a wholesaler that you plan on using?
Kesset.
Stephen, do you have any family members who are practitioners?
I do not.
And now just a few questions about the pharmacy side. Ms. Sai, can you tell us about your work experience?
I've been a pharmacist for over 5 years. I have worked in a 340B pharmacy before. I've worked retail, independent, and compounding.
The application reflects that you guys are only doing controlled substances. Was that a mistake? Okay.
Yes.
Very
little controlled substances.
Do you guys have policies and procedures in place? Yes. And do you plan on dispensing compounded drugs? I don't have any further questions.
Joe has no questions. I'm gonna ask a question and then I'm gonna turn it over to Helen and Adam because they'll do it. Who will be doing your 340B processing?
We have a compliance manager that does that, and we've already been using 340B.
Or administration?
Yes.
It's a third party that you'll be using.
Those two are experts, so I'll just turn it to.
I'm expert here. There's the expert.
Just as far as inventory, are you gonna be doing a virtual inventory or are you gonna have physically separated inventory?
Pioneer is able to separate it for me virtually.
Okay.
So,
So is Pioneer a third-party administrator that you use?
that would be just our computer system
Okay,
or software, yeah.
But we currently do use a Venti with our 340B contractor.
okay.
I know you'd be fine.
Okay, any other questions, board members, for Hope Christian Pharmacy?
I was joking because.
Who will have the key? Well, I think there was already a pharmacy there, right? So there's a bathroom there, but Dave Weiss for the record. Only Nicole's gonna have the key to start till you have the other pharmacists and there'll be a process for getting access to the key and you guys won't be able to go to the pharmacy.
That is correct.
And then for the administration side, you're gonna have a separate medicine that'll be for administrator. You won't be going over to the pharmacy to get, you may utilize the pharmacy staff to help control the other drugs, but you'll still have, you have a med room now and that'll stay as a med room and then still be the pharmacy.
Yes.
Great, I don't have any further questions.
I don't either, Madam President. I would move that we approve new pharmacy application for Hope Christian Pharmacy.
Of course, so.
All right, we have a motion from Mr. Kogo, a second.
Pending favorable inspection.
Yeah, you don't have to say that.
A motion by Mr. Kobo, a second by Mr. Porath. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Joe's gonna come talk to you.
Okay, and then with,
On your own, Billy.
I'll come on.
oh, shut it.
No,
Wait.
good.
We'll go to 9G for MRX Pharmacy. We have representatives here or online. If you please raise your hand or let us know by pressing the *6 or *9 button.
See
Online.
them? Yeah, we see them. Can you state your name for the record?
My name Martha Opon.
And I'm Therese Opon.
Martha, did you go to Roseman University?
No, I went to Marshall B. Ketchum University.
I was like, you look so familiar. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna swear both of you in. So if you can join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right, I will turn it over to Mr. Kuykendall.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Madam President. I present to you a change in ownership and name for MRX Pharmacy, previously known as Belmont Pharmacy. This is item 9G on the agenda, which starts on page 3233. The managing pharmacist and co-owner on this application is Martha Opong, and Perez Opong is also included on this application. The last inspection for Belmont Pharmacy was done on May 27th, 2025, and there was no follow-up issues found. Just looking over the application, Dr. Opong, I just want to confirm, will the other co-owner of this pharmacy be Mr. Perez Opong?
Correct.
And then what is your relationship with Mr. Perez Opong?
That's my husband.
Gotcha. And then with this new ownership change, will there be any staffing changes specifically based on the ownership change?
Not for right now, because we're gonna inherit the technician over there.
Gotcha. And then will there be any changes in policies and procedures based on this ownership change?
No.
Okay.
Has any services changed based on the ownership change?
No, we're gonna maintain it as a retail pharmacy. No compounding, no, not,
Yeah, just maintain it.
we're just maintaining it as it is.
Gotcha. And then this question is for Martha Opong. Why did you decide you wanted to own a pharmacy in Las Vegas?
Okay, so I wanted to own a pharmacy to help the community of Las Vegas. And then it's been my long-term goal. I'm originally from Ghana. So I was thinking in the future, if I relocate back home, I can help serve the community in Ghana as well. And also, just that for now.
Then for Martha, have you been a pharmacist in charge in a pharmacy in the past?
No, this is gonna be my first time.
Okay. And then what have you done to understand the responsibilities that comes with being the pharmacist in charge?
Working with technicians, so I'm their supervisor. I make sure they do their work perfectly. Also, working with other pharmacists, I've learned some good traits from them, which I'm going to use in becoming a PIC.
Okay. And then looking through this application, Mr. Perez Opong, I see here that you served in the armed forces. I want to say thank you for your service. And then I also saw that you were the pharmacy manager at Nellis Air Force Base.
Yes.
Can you expand on what your duties were? And then what license were you working under during that time?
I've been a pharmacy technician for over 15 years. So when I joined the military, since I already have the certification, I continued as a pharmacy technician. And then as I grew up in the ranks, I ended up doing the pharmacy managerial positions. So there were times where I, together with we call it the pharmacist in charge as well, we were together running the pharmacy, both at Nellis Air Force Base and even when we were deployed.
Okay. And then are you planning on performing technician duties at MRX Pharmacy?
Currently, not really. I haven't really thought about that yet.
They bought the pharmacy. Are you a licensed technician in Nevada?
I am. My license is currently expired, so maybe I have to think about like renewing it. But I work on the side as a clinical researcher, so maybe I'll reconsider it, but not yet.
And then this question's for both of you. I just want to make sure you guys understand that only the pharmacist in charge can access the pharmacy independently. I just want you to be sure you're aware. All right. No further questions.
Madam President, just one follow-up question, Dave, at least for the record. I might have misheard you, or maybe you said you wanted to service Ghana, people of Ghana, or you just want to, I'm not sure. Can you describe what you mean by that?
Oh, that is in the future. If I decide to go,
I just want to make it clear, you cannot legally sell.
Not anytime soon.
Ghana. I've seen a lot of weird things though, so I just do not be taking the medicine here and taking it to Ghana. Okay, all right, good.
No.
I just want to make sure I know, I thought that it was like a spiritual wish. So I thought that was the way, and I commend you for that, but we need to be following all the rules. So, okay.
This is going to be when I retire. And if I think, if I'm going to stay in Ghana, that's.
Ms. Opong did say in the future.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know if that meant next week though.
No.
All right. I don't have any additional questions. Board members, questions?
I don't have any additional questions, Madam President, so I should say for the record, I do move to approve the application for ownership and name change for MRX Pharmacy.
Okay, very good. All right, we have a motion by Dr. Taylor, a second by Dr. Jacobo. Any further discussions? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. We wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right.
Love the enthusiasm.
Yeah. I do too. Executive report perhaps?
That's what I'm ready to go. So Joe's gonna hand out the finances. Nothing really to talk about. I can answer any questions. I think in the finance, I just want to disclose you that it was, I mean, we are not in violation of the law. We're not in violation of the law. We did appropriately turn in our fiscal audit as we were meant to do. But I owed you another part of the audit, which is what we call the single audit, and it's related to our grants. The auditors, to remind you, didn't get the rules from the federal government related to how they were supposed to do the audit because of the shutdown. They have those now. I did was hoping to get them to you this meeting, but we haven't got it from them. So I think my first version is supposed to be delivered to me next week. I've been talking to the auditors, so there's no concerns about that. So I think you'll see the whole audit in March is what my goal is. I was hoping to get it to you today, but there's no concerning. There's no concerns related to the finances. As I told Adam, we are beginning to work on our next fiscal year budget. So it has come around very quickly. And so Karen and I will be working on that with Adam. We'll have a meeting about that. So unless there's any questions about the finance report, I'll move on to the issuance of temporary licenses, and those are their name changes, meetings with the other regulatory boards. We do meet with the other boards. As you guys know, I'll probably be meeting with the Cannabis Compliance Board just related to what's going to happen with marijuana. So we'll meet with them, and happy to tell the public that we're meeting with them. And then activity and citations and fines are in there. So no other points in my report. I don't think Greg has anything, but he may surprise me. So.
Well, so you're aware of the decision, Bigelow, and I'll just ask Brett. Brett, are you handling any cases in court that you want to mention? Okay, so we don't have anything.
Sorry, for calendar. We do have one pending PJR that was filed by Bernard Brooks.
All right.
Okay, great. Thank you for your reports. Are there any other agenda items before I move to public comment?
No, Madam President, thank you.
Okay, so with that, the board will open up the floor for any public comment. If we have anyone in the room or anyone online or on Zoom who wishes to make public comment, please come forward or raise your hand on Zoom or let us know through the chat function.
Not seeing anyone, Madam President.
Okay, and I'm not seeing anyone in the room as well. So with that, we'll close the period for public comment. That completes our agenda items for today. We'll reconvene tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Our meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.